9096. Learn the game to love the game.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Our Adrian Wojnarowski reports Draymond Green could report to the team facility within the next few days, hoping to get back on the floor with the Warriors. Green's been on indefinite suspension for the last 3 weeks. The Brooklyn Nets fined $100,000 by the NBA for violating the league's player participation policy. Head coach Jacques Vaughn rested 4 players for a home game last week. 3 other players didn't see the court after the first quarter. After dramatic semifinal wins, Michigan and Washington play for the national championship Monday night on ESPN TV and radio. Our Mel Kiper Jr. says evaluating Wolverines quarterback J.J. McCarthy is a tough call.
He, to me, is a little mystery. There's going to be some mystery with J.J. He's 20 years old, doesn't turn 21 till February. When the Penn State doesn't throw a pass in the second half. Maryland throws the pick before the half. They get momentum. They come back in the game. Ohio State, decent to good, not great. He hasn't had that wow performance.
Mel Kiper on Carlin versus Joe. Team USA beats Finland 3-2 in the World Junior Hockey semifinals in Sweden.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Friday. I'll tell you if we've seen the last of the Chiefs dynasty as currently constructed. It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Derek Carr generously willing to restructure his deal. Saints injury report, my Triplett in hour number 3. Recruits talking NIL. Tigers pick up Harlem Berry yesterday. We'll react to it. Ton to do, but let's begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Wednesday brought pretty significant bombshell from the LSU football program as Brian Kelly fired 4 defensive assistants. And not quite as significant a day here on Thursday, but news nonetheless, and we would expect more and more of these with every passing day as the deadline for players to declare for the draft or announce their intention to return to school approaches. And the Tigers did get a decision and some good news on Thursday with safety Major Burns announcing via social media that he will return to LSU. Tweeting, after much thought and consideration, I will be returning to LSU this year. I'm looking forward to earning my degree and finishing what I started. So Major Burns returning to LSU for the 2024 season. There's a couple of different ways to look at this. First, to the cynic, you're not wrong. The LSU defense, namely the secondary, was atrocious in 2023. And there is a school of thought is to say, what in the world would you want any of those guys back for because they were all terrible? And you're not wrong. There is merit to that. And Major Burns was part of it. And he had one gigantic highlight of the season, which was the pick 6 at the end of the Missouri game, which sealed the win. But by and large, Major Burns has never been a great coverage safety. He's more of a box safety. He's a physical player who's willing to come up and make a tackle. He's had 156 tackles during his 3 years at LSU. And his time at LSU has probably been more so defined by 2 things. Number one, certainly injuries, which slowed his career at the beginning. Number 2, he is a world-class trash talker. There is nobody on this team that talks more than does Major Burns. And while I understand when you're not very good and there's guys trash talking, I also can at least respect the fact that somebody had enough give a damn, enough chutzpah to go get in somebody else's face. And that's Major Burns, for better or worse, on this team. The other, I said there's two ways to look at it. That's one, which is, why should you celebrate anybody returning from a defense so bad? The other part of the conversation is that I don't ever think it's a bad thing when you return a player that has played in 27 games with 23 starts at LSU, and back in 2020 played in 6 games during his freshman season at Georgia during the COVID year. So over the course of 4 seasons, Major Burns has played in 33 games. There is no substitute for experience. That guy's got a ton of it, and you're glad to have him back in 2024. Now, there's 2 real questions as well. One, how much can Major Burns improve with a new defensive coordinator and a new defensive backs coach? If you're asking Major Burns to go play free safety or strong safety and turn and run and cover, that's not going to go well. That's not what he does. But could he be a nickel that plays in the box and helps in run support? Yeah, I think that certainly is something Major Burns could do for you. And obviously he's got great leadership and experience and all that stuff. Number 2 is, can he stay healthy? As I mentioned, he was injured his freshman season at Georgia. He came to LSU back in 2021, played early, had the foot injury that cost him the rest of the season. He ended up only playing 5 games that year. A year ago in 2022, he ended up having the neck injury, which cost him the second half of that season. But this year, 2023, he played in all 13 games. He was able to stay healthy and played in every game for you. So can he stay healthy? How much can he improve? 2 big questions. But Major Burns returning is a good thing for LSU. And when you look at that safety room, I kind of look at it to say, okay, compare and contrast the safety room from 23 to 24 and how it looks, at least as of right now, where your starting safeties were Major Burns and Andre Sam. You lost Greg Brooks, unfortunately, to a terrible medical situation. You moved Sage Ryan to corner out of necessity, and you had some young guys that probably project as a safety, like Javen Toviano, who had to play corner out of necessity, and Ryan Yates battled an injury from camp, didn't get on the field till late. Kylan Jackson, and Ryan Yates played in every game, mostly special teams, but got in there at safety as well. So you got a lot of that, but you look at Major Burns, who's played in 33 career games, and you're bringing in Jordan Gilbert as well, who's played in 25 games. Played in 12 games his freshman season at A&M, played 11 games a year ago, started the first 2 games this year before an injury cost him the rest of his year. But that's a guy who's played in 25 games. So just if you're starting with Burns and Gilbert, you're starting with guys who played a ton of football. The other guy that's worth mentioning as well is Sage Ryan. Sage Ryan moved to corner this year, again, out of sort of necessity, but that's a guy who over his time in Baton Rouge has played 31 games. Do you move Sage Ryan back to safety? I guess my point is, well, I don't think I mentioned any potential All-Americans there with Burns, Gilbert, or Ryan. I did just mention guys that have played an awful lot of football. And if you coach them better than they got coached this year, you've got 3 really veteran players to build around there. And then you've got Javen Toviano, who, last year in spring, they played at nickel, at dime, at strong, at free, at corner. They played everywhere to see where he best fit. And he'll be able to fill some type of valuable role. You've got Ryan Yates, who came from a football factory in Dallas and was ready-made and ready to go and played for you this year in all 13 games. Kylan Jackson from Zachary, who, as we mentioned, had that injury in fall camp and took him a while to get healthy and get reacclimated. But by the end of the season, he was playing and ended up playing in 5 games for you, which included the bowl game. You bring in Austin Osbury via the portal, who can give you depth and maybe continue to develop and be a rotational piece. And then you got guys like Joel Rogers and Jordan Allen, who have been young veterans now. And then Deshaun McBride, who's one of the highest-rated prospects in the class, who might come in and surprise everyone and win a job day one because he's that talented. I guess my point is when you look at it, you go Burns, Gilbert, Osbury, Toviano, Yates, Jackson, Ryan, McBride, Rogers, Allen. That's 10 safeties. 10 potential safeties, Andy. 10 safeties on this roster for 2024 as of now. Now, someone could always enter the portal, however it may go, but even if you're just looking at Burns, Gilbert, Osbury, Toviano, Ryan, let's say Yates, Jackson, those 7, You've got guys who have played a lot of football and can improve year to year that are going to almost undoubtedly make you better at safety than you were this year because, man, it would be so hard to be worse. But Major Burns returning with his 33 career games played will return for a 5th season of college football in 2024. And I don't think it's coincidental, by the way. I do not think it's coincidental that a decision like that came today, a day after Matt House was fired. A day after Robert Steeples and Kerry Cooks were fired. You know, I'm going to be very curious to see, leading up to the 15th, which is the draft decision deadline, where players have to declare for the draft. I'm going to be very interested over these next 2 weeks to see what players make those decisions to stay or go. You know, and we're certainly looking at the defensive line with guys like Mason Smith and Jacobian Guillory. You know, it certainly seems around the program like Jacobian Guillory is poised to return. Again, it's never done until it is, but we'll see. That would be huge. You know, Mason Smith is a guy that, you know, I think we all just sort of assumed he was going pro. And he didn't have a great season, so can you convince him with a new defensive coordinator, a new defensive line coach, to come back to school and maybe try to make a push at having the season we all hoped and thought he could have and be a first-round pick? You know, potentially bet on yourself and make tens of millions of dollars as a result. And I'll throw it out there as well, but I don't know that Mekhi Wingo signed with an agent yet. But we all saw that video on the field of he and Matt House. And it's very clear that there was a disconnect there. Not only with Wingo, but with other players as well. Is it worth going to Mekhi Wingo and saying, hey, being transparent, here's what we're looking to do at DC. Here's what we're looking to do at defensive line coach. Come back, run it back, and help us help us improve next year. Now, I don't know if that matters. You could certainly float Mekhi Wingo a nice NIL deal, which could incentivize him. But when you look at his draft slot, I talked to an agent today that said the consensus around the league seems to be a third, fourth round pick, so maybe a late day 2, early day 3 guy. If he does come back to school, you know, what's his ceiling? A second round pick? It's sort of that money is sort of negligible. So I don't know that Mekhi Wingo would stand to gain a lot through the NFL's eyes by coming back, just because he is going to have a lower ceiling because of his body type and his size. I mean, unless he becomes Aaron Donald. But maybe that's a guy who wants to be a team guy and run it back and try to finish right one more year in Baton Rouge. It's at least worth a shot. See if you can get him to have a change of heart. With the deck sort of cleared now after Wednesday's announcement, I feel like there's this collective cloud that's been lifted, this sigh of relief being breathed by a lot of people associated with the program and on the defensive side of the ball and the roster, the staff, all of it. And people are able to have really transparent conversations now, and maybe some positivity on that side of the ball is starting to seep back in, at least the promise of a better tomorrow, which I don't think existed had you maintained the status quo. So Major Burns returning. We'll see if others follow suit. Okay, it's After Further Review. Show open every day, brought to you by our friends over at Bud Light. Shout out to Mockler Beverage and our friends at Bud Light. Mockler's, of course, been a great community partner for 4 decades now. It's hard to go to a charity event without seeing the Bud Light, the Mockler Beverage banners, all the great Anheuser-Busch products. And look, you can't go to a game without seeing them as well. Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, the New Orleans Saints. You can always reach for those Bud Light cans with the Saints logo on it. They got the aluminum bottles with the LSU logo, the 16-ounce aluminum bottle, purple and gold. Really cool. Check them out at all great local retailers. Drink easy in Louisiana with Bud Light. Okay, it's After Further Review. Glad to have you aboard with us. We'll go around the SEC at the bottom of this hour. Big news if you missed it. Quinshon Judkins, the running back from Ole Miss, has entered the transfer portal. We'll get you that news and react to it coming up in about 15 minutes from right now. Well, now I got a quick break. Switch gears. Talk some Saints. Derek Carr gave an interview where he's nothing if not a team guy, right? Or is he? I'll explain next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001.
For air conditioning and heating, remind you that an AC tune-up
woke up this
now
morning,
can help to prevent
went to the
breakdowns
gym
in the
early,
future.
34
They're
degrees
psychic.
outside, came back in,
We're
went
not,
into the
but we
bedroom
do know-
to go shower. When I walked in the bedroom, it was so nice and toasty. It's
few better feelings, actually, than when you're freezing cold, than to feel warmth again. River City's 1 Hour Air. Make sure that I never have to worry about that. If you've got an issue with your heater, call River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001, or online at onehourbr.com, ONE1hourbr.com. That's where you find them. When I say they're always on time or you don't pay a dime, I mean it. Schedule time to be at your house. If they're 1 minute late, you don't come out of pocket 1 cent. They save you time. They save you money. Make sure you ask about their membership club. It's worth it. With that membership club, you get priority service and you get discounts. It's River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Oh, Derek Carr. Oh, ye benevolent monarch. Yes, he, Derek Carr, the emperor of empty yards. Oh, my goodness. Stand before thee. Have you heard what he's doing? Muse, did you hear what Derek Carr is willing to do?
I heard what he's willing to do.
Paulie, did you hear about it? Did you hear what Derek Carr, what he's willing to do?
I did hear it.
Oh, my goodness, I tell you, what a guy. What a guy, that Derek Carr. What's his middle name? Derek something?
Dallas. Derek Dallas Carr.
Yeah, that's right. From the House of Carr, as T-Bob told us in his grand announcement. Derek Dallas Carr, such a benevolent monarch, that emperor of empty yards, Derek Carr. So good. Derek Carr gave an interview with Zach Ewing of the Times-Picayune, and in his benevolence, in his grace, our fearless leader said that he is willing to restructure his contract if it helps the team. Quote, if it helps the team and I saw the plan and I knew where it was going to go, man, let's figure it out. Not even a question, Carr said. I came here to win, so whatever we got to do, I'm all in. Oh, my. Can we give him a round of applause, everybody? Big round of applause, this guy. I mean, golly, the benevolence, the grace, the selflessness of one Derek Carr, the emperor of empty yards. Baloney! Get out of here. You know how that's being phrased? That's being presented as if he's taking a pay cut. He ain't talking about taking a pay cut. He's talking about restructuring his contract. That'll help nobody. Get out of here, Derek Carr. I'll go over this again. The Saints, as you all know, we're into that time of year now where the Saints are going to try to be moving toward cap compliance, and so they're going to start restructuring contracts to get within cap compliance. And they're going to have to take a lot of big deals, and they're going to restructure them and move money around so that way they can be within cap compliance. Well, when you restructure a deal, that's not taking a pay cut. What Andrews Pete did last year was take a pay cut because the Saints told him, hey, we're either cutting you or you can stay at a lower number. And he said, I'll stay at a lower number. That helps the Saints. Derek Carr, when you restructure your deal, the amount of money you get doesn't change. It just changes how you get the money. When they take salary and convert it into a signing bonus, you get a lump sum payment up front, and the team can spread that money out over future years, even voidable years in the future, which means the team is actually financially tied to you even longer. For example, look at Michael Thomas's contract. Michael Thomas signed that big 5-year, $96.25 million contract. And every year for the past couple of years, I've had Saints fans come, and we talk about it here all the time. They should trade Michael Thomas. They can't trade Michael Thomas. How in the world can you trade a guy with that contract? How are you going to get someone to give you an asset to take not only the player, but also the player's contract? This year, for example, for everybody who wanted the Saints to trade Michael Thomas, his cap hit was $14.2 million. His dead cap number was $36.1 million. It was going to cost you $36.1 million to not have Michael Thomas on your team. That would never happen. Oh, by the way, next year, Michael Thomas's cap hit, $10 million. His dead cap number, meaning if he's not on the roster, $18.1 million. It would cost you $8 million more to get rid of Michael Thomas than to have him. And if he ain't just the gift that keeps on giving all year long, the next 3 years subsequent, 25, 26, 27, you've got money on the books attached to Michael Thomas that are voided years. So even though he might not be on your roster after 2024, Michael Thomas will still cost you $9.1, $4.0, and $1 million each of the next 3 seasons in 25, 26, and 27. That's what a restructure does to you. Yes, it's a short-term option. It gets you within cap compliance today, but it binds you to that player financially even longer. So when we say kick the can down the road, that's what this is. So when Derek Carr, and listen, he was asked the question, it's not like he just came and made this bold proclamation, so I'll give him a little bit of a pass right there. But let's not pass this off as something more than what it really is. If Derek Carr restructured his contract with the New Orleans Saints, the Saints would pay him a lump sum now, and they would spread those cap hits out over future years, which means you would be financially bound to Derek Carr even longer. And the reality is, you got one more year of this awful failed experiment. One more year. Because as his contract sits right now, Derek Carr has a $35.7 million cap hit in 2024. So Derek Carr in 2024 is going to cost you $35.7 million. His dead cap number next year is $52.8 million. So Derek Carr's on your roster next year no matter what. It's going to cost you $35.7 to have him on the roster. If he's not here, it costs you $52.8 million. Ain't nobody eating $52.8 million. But the following year, 2025, Carr's cap number is 45.7. His dead cap number is 17.1. So, yes, when Derek Carr comes back next year, stinks again, or is benched for a rookie, please God, then you cut him. You have a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal, please God, and then you wash yourself of Derek Carr's $45 million cap hit in 2025, and you eat $17 million. That's most likely what will happen here with the Derek Carr contract in the future. My goodness, please, for the love of God, Kai Harley, do not entertain the notion of restructuring Derek Carr's deal. Do not extend this miserable nightmare that is the Derek Carr experiment, that some of you try to convince yourself is really just because of Dennis Allen, Pete Carmichael, receivers that don't run routes or drop passes or a bad offensive line, and you can't actually acknowledge the fact that what you have is a guy that is a 10-year sample as a starting quarterback in the NFL, and he is average at best and always has been and always will be. Do not bind yourself to him for any longer than you are. Cut your losses after 2024 and move on. Can I be any more clear about where I stand on the possibility of Derek Carr restructuring? I would rather you go restructure Cesar Ruiz again. Bind yourself to Cesar Ruiz longer than Derek Carr. I can overcome a crappy right guard. I cannot overcome a mediocre quarterback and ever achieve what I want this franchise to achieve. You can't. It's not possible. You had the easiest schedule in the history of the organization this year, and you're not even going to make the playoffs. And I get it. Dennis Allen stinks. Pete Carmichael stinks. Receivers drop passes. The offensive line wasn't good. I get it. All the things you're talking about are right. So too is it that you have an average at best quarterback. And the idea of financially binding yourself to him for even longer than you already are makes me want to throw up right on the side of this desk. I want to take this big old 1-gallon water jug and throw up in it. And it would be really messy because even though it's a big water jug, there's just a little bitty spout at the top, so it would go everywhere. I mean, it would be like projected. It would be disgusting in here. I'd feel like I wouldn't even let the porters come in here and clean it. I would feel so guilty, like I would clean it myself. That's what the idea of Derek Carr being a Saint even longer makes me want to do. Our benevolent monarch, Derek Dallas Carr, the Emperor of Empty Yards. Did I make my point? You got it?
Loud and clear.
Good. Paul, you good?
Yeah.
Any ambiguity?
None.
Anybody unclear?
No.
No misgivings whatsoever about where I stand on Derek Carr and the possibility of restructuring his contract?
Zero.
I'm telling you what, Muse. I'll tell you this right now. You want a scone red-face rant? People like those things from time to time, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever we put those up on YouTube, they go crazy.
Big numbers.
You want one of them? Restructure Derek Carr's contract. See what happens. Restructure Derek Carr and see what happens. You want a scone red-faced rant? Brother, that may be the rant to end all rants. You thought the White House, the get-together at the White House?
Was that a rant, though?
That was a celebratory.
Yeah, yeah.
It was celebratory.
Cincinnati. That was a rant.
Cincinnati was a rant.
Any of the Traquan Smiths?
Yeah, all that rants. There was, who was the loser columnist from USA Today around COVID?
Oh, yeah, that guy.
No, it was a woman.
Oh, that woman.
Yeah, that was a rant.
Those are rants.
Those are rants. This would be that on steroids. All right, it's after further review. Love telling you about our friends over at First South Farm Credit. First South Farm Credit is how you buy land. Your first call, your first option should be First South Farm Credit. One of the things that's so cool about First South, by the way, it's easy. If you want to buy land, if you want to buy recreational property, even equipment, agriculture, First South Farm Credit. Maybe you lease your hunting property. You want to get off that lease because you're tired of sharing it with other people. You want your own? They can help from 10 acres to 1,000 acres. First South Farm Credit can help. 44 branches. 44 branches. In Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. Great people. Local people. And you know what's interesting, too? There's a lot of people who live down the bayou who buy property in Mississippi and think you got to finance with with a company in Mississippi. No. I mean, there's a Homa office, First South Farm Credit. Just go right there. They sound like you do, and like I do. It's First South Farm Credit. Your first option. Make your first call to First South Farm Credit. Online, firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. Okay, it's after further review. We will go around the SEC here in a smidge. Old Slimbo, Ronnie Rantz is going to be in studio in about 15 minutes. Selling tables for something, you better believe it. Actually, a really cool event they got coming up over at LeBear's with some baseball legends. We'll talk about that with Slimbo, get a little LSU. A lot of you have been clamoring for LSU baseball talk. Muse, hold on to something. You might get a little LSU baseball mention over there. You might hear some squeals over there in the background. All right, it is after further review. Let me knock out a break. We'll come back. We'll go around the SEC. The big news, Quinshon Judkins has hit the portal, and Lane Kiffin is trolling his now former running back. I'll explain next. AFR.
AFR. It's a raving fan shout-out. Presented by Darren James. Brokered by LPT Realty.
My goodness gracious, LPT Realty off and running. Darren James and Associates. There is no one better if you're looking to buy or sell a home, and there's no company better than where Darren is now. LPT Realty, the fastest growing real estate company ever. Literally in just 1 year, LPT Realty has gone from one agent to 6,000 agents. Some of the largest real estate companies in the world. It took 7 to 10 years to reach that scale. LPT Realty has done it in 1 year. The difference is the marketing, the communication, and how they share revenue with their agents. So if you are a realtor, it is worth a call. Amanda Talley over in the Acadiana area did it. She's joined Darren James and the LPT Realty team. You could be next. Agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Hey there, Muse.
Was that a hey? Hey,
hey there,
how's
Muse.
it going?
You know it's a really good feeling?
I mean, there's a lot. What are you
when you
thinking
open
of?
up that DraftKings account and see that your balance there swole a little bit.
That is a great
When you didn't do
feeling.
a thing. Give me a bell. What are you doing? Give me some bells.
Well, you didn't
here.
run through the picks.
Last night, Jimmy gave us a 3-pack of college basketball. He gave us Nebraska laying the 4. 86 to 70. They won by 16. That was pretty much a rocking chair cover. He said take Stanford plus the 5. Stanford outright winner over UCLA. As a matter of fact, Otter did say take portion of your bet and bet the money line. It was worth a look. So if you did that, you hit there as well because it was a money line winner. And then he said, hey, take Miami. I know it's 2.5, but buy it to 2. No, it was 1.5, but buy it to 2. Didn't matter. 95 to 82 routed Clemson. A 3-0 or 4-0 night for the Otter, depending on how you placed your wagers. The Ottfather has won 4 in a row now on Otter Locks on college basketball. I'm going to tell you what, he has just transitioned seamlessly from the gridiron right into the college hardwood. I am feeling pretty good about the Otter.
We might need to make a rule, though, this year. No baseball plays until after March Madness.
Okay, I'm down with that, and I might just punt Otter on baseball altogether.
Altogether, wow, okay.
Well, listen, for those that weren't here 2 summers ago, Jimmy was on an absolutely unconscious heater with Major League Baseball. It was an incredible clip where he was, I think I tallied it to like 78%. It was incredible. And then he went to Del Mar and just forgot what a baseball was. I think he was picking teams based on their colors, maybe the mascot, maybe if it was a sunny day, just whatever, and could not buy a win. And I just then committed. When he goes to Del Mar, it's over. When he goes and spends a month in Del Mar in the summer, it's over. It's over until football season. I just have to remind myself of that with Otter. But what a night. Take advantage while you can, kids. Hey, look, he's doing the Lord's work. Yeah. He's out here trying to pay for your kids' college.
It's appreciated.
It is. When I overcome those devastating panic buys that I just like.
Those panic buys will get you, man. They're part of it, though. You have to.
Give me the Kings on the money line now!
Always bet against the Pistons. That seems to work well.
Money line? Oh, yeah, they stink. That's right. They haven't won a game in a long time.
They just did, though.
Oh, did they? Good for
them.
them.
They're like 3-30 now.
Monty Williams, poor guy.
It's rough.
I know. All right, it's after further review. Right about Hudco, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. I got a text today from a buddy. I'll read this directly to you. Who asked me this morning, said, hey, Matt, does Hudco do silicone roof coating on residential homes? Mentioned a nearby store administrator looking to replace their metal roof at home. Told about the coating. They live down in Pierre Park. Absolutely. Now, mostly when I mention our silicone coating product, I mention it with commercial buildings. But, yeah, if you have a metal roof, this silicone coating product that Hudco offers, it comes with a 20-year warranty and is roughly half the cost of a roof replacement. So if you want to fortify that metal roof, Hudco can help you do that for 20 years. You don't have to worry about it again. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. All across the state of Louisiana. By the way, Hudco is hiring. So if you're interested in a sales job potentially with Hudco, reach out. Holler at us today, 364-1007, 364-1007, 364-1007, or HudcoRoofing.com. Okay, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, the Ole Miss Rebels.
Running back Quishon Judkins has hit the transfer portal. Of course, freshman of the year in the league in 2022 when he led the SEC in rushing, second in rushing this year behind Cody Schrader. Sophomore Matt Jones, team's leading returning rusher now. Judkins in the portal, senior Ulysses Bentley IV graduating. Quinshon Judkins out in Oxford.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Oh, it was an exodus of a day around T-Town today. Kool-Aid McKinstry said, I'm out. He gone. And as a matter of fact, both starting cornerbacks there from Alabama entering the NFL draft today. Also, J.C. Latham spent the last 2 years as the starting right tackle. He has declared for the NFL draft, as has linebacker Christian Braswell. They joined Dallas Turner, who've all declared now for the NFL draft.
Texas A&M!
I just hit myself in the eye with that piece of paper. That was awkward. Purdue pass rusher Nick Scourton. He's headed back to the Lone Star State. He's from Texas, transferring from Purdue to Texas A&M. Ranked as the top edge rusher in the portal and the number 8 player overall. He considered Florida State, Missouri, Oklahoma, Louisville, and Colorado, but ended up in College Station. Led the Big Ten with 10 sacks and 15 tackles for loss this year.
The Florida Gators.
Florida is adding a commitment from former South Carolina linebacker Grayson Howard. Played just one season with the Gamecocks, 11 games. Florida was a major player for Howard coming out of high school when he picked the Gamecocks over Florida, Clemson, Georgia, and Texas A&M.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
And Arkansas is expected to hire Missouri State co-offensive coordinator Ronnie Fouch as its new receivers coach. Fouch joined Bobby Petrino at Missouri State. Was also under Petrino at Louisville, but stayed there at Missouri State when Petrino left for Texas A&M. Kenny Guyton, the Arkansas receiver coach, expected to be announced as the new receiver coach at Wisconsin. Okay, there you have it. That is around the SEC. Glad to have you aboard with us. Quinshon Judkins' story hitting the portal is pretty fascinating, and it's made even more comical by the fact that Lane Kiffin is literally shark fishing, and he's trolling his own player. Lane Kiffin a bit ago tweeted a picture of himself, I would presume, on a boat in the Bahamas catching a shark with the caption "Catch and Release." He's a beauty. That Lane Kiffin. I mean, you lose the best running back in the country to the transfer portal, and all you do is you go to Twitter and you troll him. That tells you what you needed to know. They knew this was coming. This is, I know earlier this week, it's not what and what, but earlier this week we talked about Lance Hurd hitting the portal, and I told you that was an NIL deal. And a lot of you don't believe me. You push back and you say, no, he wants to play left tackle. And I'm telling you, of course, yes, he wants to play left tackle, but that's not why he's leaving. He's leaving because he wants a bigger NIL number. Well, the same here with Quinshon Judkins. Quinshon Judkins wanted a bigger NIL number. Ole Miss said, nope. And so now he's going to go get that bigger NIL number somewhere else. The way that this works is most of these players have an agent, a businessman, a family friend, whoever that represents them before they hit the portal. They go out because technically a school can't contact the player, but if you have a third party running around doing it, they go, they seek the bigger deal. If they get it, then the player enters the portal, which is basically a declaration that they're getting whatever deal they want somewhere else. So as it was with Lance Hurd, so it is with Quinshon Judkins. He'll go somewhere. He'll probably get north of 6 figures, which is, what it sounds, 7 figures. It sounds like he's asking for something just north of 7 figures for the 2023 season. If you're Ole Miss and you're not willing to commit, a 20% of your entire NIL budget to one player, then you say, okay, sayonara. So Quinshon Judkins leaving Oxford. Where he lands will be interesting to see. Okay, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Let me knock out a quick break. Our Thursday shows are brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. Semaglutide, you've heard about it. They got it over at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Trying to lose some LBs here as you start the new year? They can help. Theantiagingclinics.com. Theantiagingclinics.com. Okay, y'all. We'll knock out our final break here of hour number 1. Ronnie Rantz will be in studio with us. Big event coming up at the Bears next week with star-studded baseball event. We'll tell you about with Ronnie in studio when we come back. And we'll talk about not only the Harlem Berry commitment, which happened yesterday while we were on the air, but the trickle-down effect, what it means, all that stuff, big picture. We'll get to that coming up right after the top of the hour. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery with 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. Speaking of sports on TV, no Thursday night football. I mean, what are we going to do? It's devastating. But I have an idea. A way that you could maybe comfort the loss of Thursday Night Football. How about boneless chicken wings? All you can eat tonight and every Thursday at Pluckers. Get on by either location. Pay one low price. This is white meat, breaded, fried, tossed in your favorite wing sauce, and you can eat as many of them as you want for one low price all night long every Thursday at Pluckers. 2 locations, Nicholson, just south of campus, Bluebonnet, just in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Dining, carry out, or delivery. It's Pluckers. Remember, Pluckers, if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokee. $10,000 off new Jeep Grand Cherokee. And all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
They had to change the name to not Ron Washington, but it's really good. You're going to see it. Welcome back. Wrapping up hour number 1. Ronnie Rantz is in studio. Slimbo. Man, look how giant you are. I'm not a small human. Look how much bigger Ronnie is than me.
I was 6'5", and then like a year ago, went to the doctor, did the thing against the wall. They go, yeah, we got you down 6'4". I'm like, no, I'm 6'5". Do that again.
No.
Did it again. Coach, I shrunk an inch.
Oh, it's compression. I mean,
wow.
What are you, 50?
51.
51. So, I mean, over 51 years, Arugaron, the spine
compresses. A lot of pounding.
Yeah, you get a little short.
I mean, on the body.
No, got it. We understand. I was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast, And he was talking, I think, Hulk Hogan about that. And Hulk has lost like 3 inches.
Right, yeah.
He was 6'6", now he's like 6'3", something like that. Over his life. All the spine compression, the body slams, the fusions, all that stuff happens, Rugeron. But you look great. You look great.
I appreciate it. It's good to be here. And Ben, when you're on the remote every Saturday morning with Sports Church Radio, you forget. You forget the studio. Did the chair get fixed? That's what I want to know.
Oh, yeah, look. So here's the deal, Rugeron. I've got a chair.
But that's not the.
No, but listen, I get it. But there's no wheels on it.
Okay.
There's no compression. It's like a stool.
So
there's no opportunity for that chair to compress and fall.
So you're happy with it? That's what you wanted.
I picked the chair.
Okay.
Now I wish it was a little taller. We couldn't find some, but the way we could fix that, just you put like a little like.
Why did we go just one? Why did you get 2 of them?
Well, that's a great question. That's a question to ask Bo Wegman, our engineer who ordered them.
Was it that much?
And I think I think it was more of a question of order one, see if you like it.
Gotcha.
And maybe the second
Just
one never got
around
ordered.
to that.
And in the way that our station here works, Rugeron, Hester and T-Bob are on in the morning. A little inside baseball for everybody. Speaking of baseball, we'll get there in a sec. They stand the entire show.
Yeah,
they don't even care about chairs. Hunt's a solo show. Jimmy and Charlie are on remote every day, and I'm a solo show, so we don't need another one.
Does Riot stand?
No, he sits. He'll just pull up that chair over there. But he's a small guy, so he needs the taller chair.
He needs the spring-loaded.
That's kind of, Pa-ching! All right, so Ronnie Rantz in studio with us, the owner of the Baton Rouge Rouge, but also the president of the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. And you got a good event coming up on Tuesday, man. We're kind of getting close to baseball season now, and this is a good time to do this. Tell everybody what you got coming, man.
So it's going to be here before you know it. Yeah, this Tuesday, it's open to the public. You can get tickets at lasportshall.com. It's called the Champions of the Diamond. What that means is on the heels of LSU baseball winning the national championship, obviously what the Rangers have done, what the Astros have done recently, this is a baseball mecca in the world, really. And so we're going to have an event. We're going to have a number of Louisiana Sports Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers, celebrities at LeBear's next Tuesday. And the cool thing is doors open at 6, food and drink, open bar, all that stuff from 6 to 7. Then at 7 o'clock, we're going to introduce World Series champion coaches, Skip Bertman, Paul Maneri, Jay Johnson, Mike Bianco. A lot of people forget that Mike Bianco, the Ole Miss coach, we won 3 national championships at LSU as an assistant.
He's also won one at Ole Miss now.
Yeah, they'll be on stage. They'll be being interviewed by Victor Howell. We'll have Ben McDonald as well is going to be there helping with the interviews, and he's a gold medalist winner. He will be there. And then when they're done, after about a 45-minute or so panel discussion, then we're going to bring up World Series champion players. How about Dylan Cruz, Todd Walker, The Riot, Ryan Terrio going to be in the house, Paul Bird, Will Harris.
Very cool.
And the Rocket, Roger Clemens.
Let's go!
Who, I don't, is this a stretch? Top 3-4 pitcher of all time in the history of the sport?
You can make the argument.
I mean, I think so.
You could absolutely make the argument.
6 Cy Youngs.
I don't know. You get to the people, like who's the little Tim Kirchin? Tim Kirchin will sit here and he'll talk about like Walter Matthews or something like that from 1906. I'm like, you know what? I got no concept of Walter Matthews. I'm sure he was awesome. Could Walter Matthews hurl it today? I don't know. Never saw the guy pitch. But if you're talking about in an era in which we would all be familiar, but when there was at least motion pictures and not even necessarily just color photos and video, but like actual video, we could see a guy pitch. Rocket's up there, man. Who do you think's the best pitcher ever?
When the mound was higher, Bob Gibson is a guy that Bob Gibson, Sandy Koufax era, when you didn't know if they were going to hit you in the head or break a 12-6 bender, like Bob Gibson, for my money, with the high mound in the 60s, I don't know if there's ever been better. And unfortunately, I'm a giant Nolan Ryan fan. There's a documentary that came out a couple years ago called The Express. It's unbelievable. You need to find it on one of the platforms. Nolan Ryan just played on trash teams most of his career, but there were many years he had a losing record, and all these no hitters, but he just never played on great teams. But Nolan Ryan in the 70s when he was Angels era, him and Bob Gibson, I think, for my money.
But they're a no hitter in your 40s and beat the hell out of Robin Ventura. I'll take that too. Randy Johnson. It's hard for me not to go Randy Johnson.
The guy threw a ball and killed a bird.
Yeah.
Like, that's the greatest.
It's incredible.
Not that I'm happy that he killed a bird. But
I'm thrilled that he killed a bird because it was hilarious.
The guy, that's never been done.
No, couldn't be done. No.
You couldn't do it if you tried.
You know what's funny? You know Joe Lawrence, of course, one of the the founders of Marucci. Joe, I was sitting with Joe a couple years back. He had no concept of that. Didn't know that had ever happened.
Joe played in Toronto. It happened in Toronto.
It was a minor league game, but had
was it?
No, I'm sorry. It was spring training.
Okay,
but he had no. And so I showed him the video, and now every time on the anniversary season, he always texts it to me. Shout out Joe Lawrence.
By the way, Joe Lawrence, I gave him and his wife his wedding song. So Joe was living with Doug Thompson. I'm over at the house.
You got 1 minute to tell the story.
Anyway, Joe was like, I got to come up with a song, a first dance song. Don't know. And I went, God bless the broken road. I played it for him. He loved it. They got married to him.
Wow, I'll tell you what. I mean, we're just telling Joe Lawrence stories here to see who can one-up each other with the better Joe Lawrence story.
But if you want to hear Roger Clemens stories and Dylan Cruz stories and Jay Johnson stories, come out next Tuesday, the 9th, lasportshall.com. It's a great benefit to Hall of Fame Foundation, and you can get tickets. And by the way, you don't have to be 21 and over. It's 21 and under are included. It's upstairs at the event center at LeBears.
lasportshall.com to get your tickets. lasportshall.com. I'll be there. I'm looking forward to it, man. That's going to be awesome, especially when I heard Terrio was going to be over there.
Kevin Gosman coming, Will Clark coming, Andrew Stevenson. We're going to recognize all of them as well.
Yeah, man. Bring your kiddos, get some autographs. It'll be an awesome night. lasportshall.com. Ruger Ron.
Thank you, brother.
All right, man. Be well. Hour number 2 coming up right after SportsCenter. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, airline just north of Highland, online at southpointvw.com. Tell you all the time, new or certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. Remember, for our listeners in Lafayette and Lake Charles, Southwest Volkswagen, there in Lafayette. Awesome people. Have been great sponsors for a long time. We were actually over there on Friday. Erica just got a new Atlas. She was in the 2019 Atlas. It's been about 4 years. Time to just get her in something new, so we did. We got her in the 2023 Atlas. And they have a great inventory. You go around town and you see, really since COVID, you've seen so many empty car lots. It's kind of remarkable. You go by South Point, their lot is full. They have a ton of inventory on the lot. Like Erica was looking for a really specific car. She wanted an Atlas, white, captain's chairs in the middle. She didn't want the bench. She wanted captain's chairs in the middle. And then she wanted the tan leather interior. Super specific car. They had one on the lot. She drove away in it on Friday. South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland or southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction?
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play. with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Draymond Green of the Warriors hopes to be back on his way to the team soon. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports Green will report to the team facility in the coming days. He's been out since December 13th on an indefinite suspension. Commissioner Adam Silver gets the final say on Green's reinstatement. The Patriots are missing the playoffs for the third time in the last 4 years. Will head coach Bill Belichick stay on the job? He'll meet with team owner Robert Kraft on Monday. ESPN's Mike Reese.
Belichick stands in front of that room, and he says, look, if we hit these targets this week, we're going to win the game. And players often tell me, Greeny, they say, I don't understand. He's right all the time on that. To me, he basically needs to do the same thing with the Krafts in terms of his job.
Mike Reese on Get Up. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports former Jets running back Dalvin Cook clears waivers. He can now sign with any team. Lefty Chris Sale will sign a 2-year, $38 million contract extension with the Braves after being traded there by the Red Sox last week.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Friday. I'll tell you if we've seen the last of the Chiefs dynasty as currently constructed. It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Mike Triplett next hour. Are the Pelicans good? Oh, we got Graph. Not actual Graph. We have recorded Graph coming up at the bottom of this hour. Best win of the year. Most complete win of the year for the Pels last night. Was watching it. They look really good. Talk about it bottom of this hour. Get some more Saints stuff here in about 15 minutes. The Saints have added an offensive lineman. Why that's significant. We'll get to the injury report as Saints get ready for Week 18. All that's coming up in about 15 minutes. It was not in any way unexpected. I guess that's a double negative, I should say. It was completely expected, but it happened on, as we all anticipated it would, on Wednesday. 5-star running back for the class of 2025, Harlem Berry, out of St. Martin Episcopal in New Orleans, was at the Under Armour All-America game. He became the first underclassman ever to make his announcement at the Under Armour All-America game, doing so on national television, and this is how it sounded.
So after my senior year, the next 3 or 4 years, I'll be taking my talents to the University of LSU. Well, go play and ball out.
He did drop a University of LSU. It's all right. Young guy's nervous, all right? Take it easy, Muse. Back off, all right?
Hey, whoa. I didn't say anything.
See you there rolling your eyes. But the
big
University
moment,
of
man.
LSU.
It's a big moment.
Was he 16 years old?
National TV.
Nervous. I get it. He'll get it. Congrats to Harlem Berry, the number one running back for the class of 2025. Now when you look at LSU as they move forward, you're talking about you've already got Corian Moore committed for 2025 as the number one receiver. Now you've got Harlem Berry, the number one running back for 2025 committed. And in just 2 days on the 6th, Bryce Underwood, the number one quarterback, number one player in the country, is set to make his announcement. And it certainly, for all intents and purposes, feels like it's an LSU-Michigan battle there. So Brian Kelly, who they said he couldn't recruit. And I don't know if he can. But what he can do, certainly, is build a program and build staff members and a structure around his program to get the best athletes. He has made certainly a priority, keeping the best players in Louisiana. That certainly happened this year. In 2024, 10 of the top 12 players in the state for 2024 are signed with the Tigers. And next year, you're off to a great start already. And maybe as I look at the Harlem Berry commitment, it continues a trend of LSU getting back to what we have been accustomed to seeing from LSU running backs over the years. LSU has always had NFL running backs. For as long as I've been alive, for as long as I can remember watching LSU football. If you go back to Harvey Williams, I mean, you can go through the years and name off all the backs that have just been a pipeline from Baton Rouge into the NFL. You know, into the 90s where Kevin Falk and Cecil Collins, Rondo Mealy, that great team, those great teams with those great running backs on it. Dominic Davis, Chiron Carey, Skylar Green, who of course played more receiver, but there was a pipeline that continued throughout where you went to Adai and Hester and Keelan Williams, and you went into the Spencer Ware and Michael Ford, Kenny Hilliard teams, to Jeremy Hill, Leonard Fournette, Darius Geis, Darrell Williams. You know, Nick Brossette was the one guy that in that mix that didn't necessarily translate, but he was a 1,000-yard rusher. Then you went to Clyde, who was a first-round pick, Ty Davis Price, who was drafted by the 49ers. But after TDP in 2020, you've had this run of misses. John Emery's career has been well documented as an insanely talented guy who's just had his career derailed by injury and then obviously the academic issues. That's so unfortunate. But Trey Bradford, Armani Goodwin, for a variety of different reasons, guys that just didn't pan out at LSU at that position. So you go into the portal and you get Noah Cain, and then you get Logan Diggs, who Logan Diggs certainly looks like an NFL back, and we'll see if he's back another year. But, I mean, you had Josh Williams, a former walk-on, was your leading running back in 2022. And I always say this with the caveat that I have immense respect for what Josh Williams has done. Coming from Houston as a walk-on, took a shot on himself, grinded away, and he's been an ultimate team guy. Look at the Wisconsin game the other day. That 98-yard drive. I mean, Josh Williams on 2nd and 10 got a 9-yard run, then on 3rd and 2 was hit behind the line of scrimmage and got you 2 yards. So I'm not in any way disparaging Josh Williams. Please don't misunderstand. I'm just talking about projectability at that position where LSU throughout its history, even if you want to go before Harvey Williams, talk about Dalton Hilliard, Gary James, Charles Alexander. I mean, it's Jerry Stovall, Billy Cannon. I mean, the list is long and illustrious. LSU's never lacked for talented people to turn around and hand the ball to and to run. And they're getting back to that point. Logan Diggs this year, assuming he's back in 2024, is an NFL running back. Caleb Jackson, Trey Holly, they certainly look the part, don't they? You got Caden Durham committed for this class. That's a guy that looks like an NFL running back, a future NFL running back. One of the best running backs in the country, top running back in Texas. And then 2025, you got the number one running back in the country in Harlem Berry committed. That room looks like an LSU running back room again. And that is a major salute to Frank Wilson, who has a great eye for talent, to identify those skilled rushers, but then also the ability to get them here, even in spite of the competition, or maybe because of the competition, to push them to be better. That's how you ended up with Geis and Fournette and Darrell Williams all on the same team in the same backfield. Love to see it. That's a position that LSU should always be fruitful. Always. You should never look at LSU's running back room and say, man, who's going to tote the mail? It should be more of a question because of how deep you are there. Who's going to win the job? Not necessarily do you have someone to do it. And they're getting back to that point, which is awesome to see. So Harlan Berry commits to LSU for the class of 2025. And that 2025 class already in the top 5 in the country with just 7 players committed. And they could rock it up, again, in a couple of days if, in fact, they do get a commitment from the number 1 player in the country, Bryce Underwood. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels. Fine jewelry online at lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where not only Baton Rouge, but all of Louisiana has gone to get engaged now for more than 40 years. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Gentlemen, thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. A beautiful diamond ring. If you're going to pop the question here, Valentine's is just a little more than a month away. Maybe that's the day, and you're starting to think about that proposal, getting down on bended knee and making that lifetime decision. Let Lee Michaels help. One of the best parts about Lee Michaels, aside from their selection, their prices, which are all the best, it is the customer service. They love to say, no matter your budget, you will always get the Lee Michaels experience. Buying a beautiful piece of jewelry, a beautiful diamond from Lee Michaels, it's a huge, momentous occasion. And they treat you like it's a huge, momentous occasion. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. 2 locations in Baton Rouge, Corporate Boulevard, right there in Bocage, and in the Mall of Louisiana. They're in New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, 9 locations in all. Find that location nearest you at lmfj.com. That's lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, let's After Further Review. Oh, a lot of you have asked. We are into Week 18 in the NFL now, which means it's the final week for our dear friend, the Emperor of Empty Yards, Derek Dallas Carr. To match the predictions that one Chad Ochocinco put forth. Hey, Muse, I need some odds here. Maybe we can get Otter to give us odds on this?
That'd be the play, yeah.
Okay. First of all, I think Ocho's already lost because he said 6 interceptions on the season. Carr's already at 8.
Yeah, then it's over.
It's over.
Yeah, it's over.
Ocho predicted 38 tuds. Derek Carr's at 21. So he'll need 17 passing touchdowns on Sunday against the Falcons.
That'd be some kind of a record.
That would probably be. And he also predicted 4,700 passing yards. And Derek Carr's at 3,614. So he would need 1,086 passing yards on Sunday against the Falcons.
Also some kind of a record.
So if Derek Carr throws for 1,086 yards, 17 touchdowns, and somehow negates 2 interceptions, then Ocho's numbers would hit for the year. Can we get some odds from maybe the Otter can give us some odds?
Yeah, we'll work on that with Otter.
Okay.
and get that.
Paulie, you think
long?
Do you think I'm good? Should I be nervous at all going into Sunday against the? You think Carr's got a shot at 17 touchdowns and 1,086 yards against the Falcons?
There's always a chance.
Yeah, there's always a chance. It's that 1 in a million talk. You know what I mean? Anyway, so we'll have to remind Ocho after Sunday. We'll see how it goes Sunday. You know, if Carr falls short of the 17 touchdowns and 1,086 yards, we'll have to remind Ocho of the bet. And the bet is, as we recall, he's got to fly to Louisiana and do the show with me. He has to do AFR with me one day, the whole show. We'll go set up over at Don Juan. We'll smoke his cigars, his 85 brand cigars. Like I said, I'll even buy a box of them and give them out to people if y'all come on by. But we'll see if Ocho's a man of his word. Or is he a Dwayne from Thibodeau?
Ooh. I don't want to be a Dwayne from Thibodeau.
And help him.
Yeah.
Heaven help him. I might have to get RC in on it. RC and Ocho are close. Ocho's been on the pivot several times. If he ghosts me, and I don't think he will. Ocho seems like just a straight up dude like that.
He does.
Right? Doesn't he?
Yeah, for sure.
He does. He can't stiff me. He cannot ghost me here. If he does, he's going to get called out. I mean, as we say, in the digital era, everything recorded, right? Everything's recorded.
Everything.
We got it. All right. So while you're watching the Saints and Falcons on Sunday, remember the number: 17 touchdowns and 1,086 yards. That's what Derek Carr has to do against the Falcons on Sunday, or I beat Ocho. I feel pretty, and negative two interceptions. Negative 2 interceptions.
That's actually the hardest part of this.
Now you take them away.
Yeah.
Maybe if Derek Carr catches 2 of his own passes, we can negate.
Okay.
Or if he goes and plays DB and gets 2 interceptions, maybe we could call it a wash.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's no Marshawn Lattimore probably this week again. So
You might need him.
Yeah.
You might need him out there. Okay, it's after further review. We will talk Saints injury. I probably should have saved this for next time. Saints injury report. The Saints did add an offensive lineman. We'll get to that next.
AFR.
So thrilled to welcome Action Industries to the AFR family. It has been my pleasure to get to know the people and the company over at Action Industries. And one of the reasons I love getting to endorse companies like Action Industries, these are great companies that have been around our state for decades, and I get to tell their story. Action Industries, you know the dozens of chemical and petrochemical plants all along the river? Action Industries has serviced those plants since 1982. 41 years, almost 42 years now. They got 2 offices, Highway 30 in Geismar and in Belrose. When it comes to Action Industries, their main differentiator, look, there are some gigantic contractors. And a lot of times you might feel like they're not your biggest priority. With Action, they got a 100-man job. You are their biggest priority. It's Action Industries. Check them out online. Action Industries. Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokee, $10,000 off new Jeep Grand Cherokee, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The best kept secret.
After further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
This is a huge game for us. I mean, like I said, anytime you play the Saints, it's a big deal, and this one's got a lot on the line for both teams.
Falcons head coach Arthur Smith, Saints and Falcons from the Dome on Sunday. The Thursday injury report is out. I'm actually going to start with the Falcons because maybe the biggest name on either side is Falcons quarterback Taylor Heineke, who was limited with the ankle injury again on Thursday. So limited Wednesday, limited Thursday. So we're kind of keeping an eye on what they're going to do. Remember, they benched Desmond Ridder. Well, they started Ridder, benched him for Heineke, went back to Ridder, then benched Ridder again. Now it's Heineke, but Heineke got hurt against the Bears on Sunday. Arthur Smith did give an update on Taylor Heineke.
I'm optimistic, but again, that's why you have contingency plans, and the way we'll prepare, similar to how Taylor prepared last week. And I know Des will always be ready to go, and so will Logan. I mean, they've been that way all year, and that's helped. It's been an up and down year. Certainly been changed in that room. The relationship between the three of those guys, to me, is unique and rare, and I've got a lot of faith in all those guys.
So the rest of the injury report, I'll run through it really quickly. Of course, if Heineke can't go, it'll be Desmond Ridder, who the Saints saw earlier this year. And the Saints had that brutal day where they were 0 for 5 in the red zone, and despite putting up over 400 yards, lost to the Atlanta Falcons. Calais Campbell had a rest day on Wednesday, but practiced on Thursday, no designation. Drew Dahlman, DeMarco Hellams, Mike were both DNPs. Mike Hughes went from he's in the cornerback who's in the concussion protocol, limited. Cordero Patterson, rest day on Wednesday, practiced on Thursday. Everybody else was limited. Troy Anderson, Zach Harrison, Taylor Heineke. Again, the notable one again, Drew Dahlman, their center, back-to-back days, has not started. Remember the old Mike D line? It's old Buddy D betting angle. The teams that lose their starting center fail to cover some 80% of the time the week they lose their starting center. So if Drew Dahlman can't go, according to that angle, huge benefit for the New Orleans Saints. So we'll keep an eye on Dahlman when the final injury report comes out on Friday. As for the Saints, not great. I mean, they're a banged up football team. Juwan Johnson was limited, so that was an upgrade. But Lonnie Johnson, Alvin Kamara, Nafai Sewell, Landon Young, all DNPs. Nafai Sewell, we know, is out with the torn ACL. Colin Saunders in the concussion protocol. He practiced on Thursday but was limited. Kendre Miller limited with the ankle. A.T. Perry was a new addition with an illness. Then Eric McCoy, Chris Olave, Peyton Turner, all limited. Turner's still, of course, on IR. He's returned to practice, but they've yet to activate him. So we'll keep an eye on all that, see how guys trend on Friday as they move closer to the game on Sunday for the Saints. Also of note is the Saints made a roster move. We saw a couple of corresponding moves from Wednesday to Thursday, and one of the sort of unfortunate things was Jontre Kirkland, former LSU Tiger, was on the Saints practice squad, was released. But we know the corresponding move is the Saints have signed former Falcons offensive lineman Colby Gossett to the practice squad. So follow me here with Gossett and how this goes. If you remember, so Ryan Ramczyk has been shut down for the year. So with Ramczyk out for the rest of the season, Landon Young had been starting at right tackle. Well, Landon Young this past weekend ends up going down in the game, and Cameron Irving goes in at right tackle. Well, on the injury report, Landon Young is still out with that knee injury. So if certainly the fact that they've signed Colby Gossett is an indicator that Landon Young likely isn't going to be able to go, or this is at least a contingency if he's not able to go. I know the way sometimes we think with decisions like this, it's, well, you go and sign a former Falcons offensive lineman the week you play the Falcons because he's going to tell you all their secrets. I don't know that I necessarily think that's the case. Gossett's backstory, he was a 6th-rounder out of Appalachian State back in 2018 by the Vikings. He's played with 5 different teams. The Saints are now his 6th, but the bulk of his experience did come with the Atlanta Falcons, mostly during the 21 and 22 seasons. So he played this year in the preseason with the Browns, but the last 2 years he had been with Atlanta. The reason this makes sense is not necessarily that Colby Gossett's going to come in and be a starter for you or tell you everything you need to know about Arthur Smith and the Atlanta Falcons, but because of his experience not only with the Falcons, but in this division and against the Saints, there's a degree of familiarity. So on Sunday, my assumption is if Landon Young isn't able to go, you're going to start Cameron Irving, who replaced Landon Young this past week and played pretty well. And we talked about Irving when they made that signing. He's a veteran player who's a high draft pick coming out of Florida State, played with Jameis Winston on the national championship team at Florida State. So there's a lot to like about Cameron Irving. Not going to be an all-pro at this point in his career, but a veteran player who's played a lot of football and can be serviceable for you. But if Irving goes down and you need somebody in a pinch, a guy that knows the Falcons, knows their defense, knows their personnel. I get it, new defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen this year and all that stuff, but there's a lot of their defensive personnel, knows Arthur Smith and what they're trying to accomplish. There can be, and even some of the talent, there can be an easier transition if you need him in a pinch. We'll see if he's activated. We'll see what happens with Landon Young. But it does make sense that you go get a guy like Colby Gossett, who's played in the NFL, and most importantly, he's played for Atlanta and against the Saints, is familiar with both of these teams. If you need it in a pinch, in a week, this is a guy that could do it. So we'll see as they get closer to the game on Sunday with the Saints and the Falcons. And look, it's an opportunity for the New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons. Both teams need help to get into the playoffs, but if you don't win this game, it's moot. Saints, Falcons have to win this game and get help to make it into the playoffs. So Derek Carr was asked if he was going to be scoreboard watching during the game because the Bucs and the Panthers will be playing at the same time the Saints and the Falcons are. Here's what Derek Carr said if he is going to be scoreboard watching the Bucs during the game.
I don't want to know any of that. I just want, again, our guys to be focused on the task at hand, because if we're worried about those things, Atlanta's way too good of a team to not be thinking 100% on. You can't do that. They would come in here and beat us by 40 if we start thinking about that kind of stuff. And so, our mindset has to be completely and solely on Atlanta and winning our game, and then, hopefully hear some cheers in the stands afterwards.
I will be mostly interested to see if they're putting the score on the scoreboards in the dome, because they do roll scores throughout the from the NFL throughout the day in the dome. So I'll be very interested to see, and maybe they might do that depending on how that Carolina Tampa game is going. But in any event, Saints and Falcons Sunday in the dome. We'll get the final injury report on Friday. All right, brought to you by Pure Restoration, pure-restoration.com, pure-restoration.com. You got mold? Think you might. Pure Restoration can help. Told you for years about Mold Zero. Same company, new name. Mold Zero has rebranded to Pure Restoration, a non-toxic, patented dry fog treatment. It is more cost-effective, more efficient to go with Pure Restoration than traditional remediation companies. Think of it. A lot of traditional remediation companies are going to come in, they're going to cut sheetrock, they're going to pull up carpet, you're going to have to take your furniture out, you might have to throw your furniture away. Not necessarily with Pure Restoration. This is a proven, efficient solution for your home, for your office, commercial buildings, public buildings. It's Pure Restoration. They come in, they spray their patented non-toxic dry fog. It could be in and out in a day. I mean, if it's your home, it's half a day, maybe. And you don't even have to move anything out. It's totally safe for your family, your pets, for everything. They come in, they spray. As soon as the fog dissipates, you're back in your home, your office, free and clear of mold and other harmful pathogens. It's Pure Restoration, pure-restoration.com. That's pure-restoration.com. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Mike Triplett in 45 minutes from right now. Excited to talk to Mike to preview the Saints and Falcons. One final preview with Mike Triplett. Unless Saints happen to pull off a shocker and get in the playoffs. We'll be previewing a wildcard game next weekend. But excited to have Mike with us here in about 45 minutes from right now. Muse will get the Tigers and the Pros in about 15 minutes. When we come back, get in your texts and your tweets and all the good stuff. Get to a lot of your reaction. You can email us. You could tweet us at Matt Moscona. You could jump into the
Twitter. Oh, no, not Twitter. Hey, X World.
Thank you, George, truly. You can jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat, or you can text 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Are the Pelicans good? Graf will tell us next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel. Two amazing hotel properties in Baton Rouge, the Watermark downtown, the Renaissance Southtown. Remember, evenings at the Renaissance returning next week, and you are invited. If you're interested, this is going to be there's a few tickets remaining, as I understand, for next week's event. It's on the 9th, so we're talking about Tuesday, so we're 5 days away. It's at Tallulah, inside the Renaissance Hotel, right there on Bluebonnet, across from Perkins Row. There'll be cocktail demonstrations with Sugarfield Spirits. You can learn how to make and taste a classic martini, their honey badger, and a personal favorite, the bee's knees. It'll be at Tallulah on Tuesday. It's evenings at the Renaissance, and we actually are going to have tickets to give away on tomorrow's show. So I'm excited about that. So make sure you're with us here tomorrow for AFR because we'll be giving away tickets live on air. It's evenings at the Renaissance inside Tallulah, coming up this Tuesday at Tallulah inside the Renaissance Hotel.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
They're a really good team. They're the best team defensively. They're sound offensively. So to come in here and get a win against a well-coached team, a talented team like Minnesota is huge for us.
Willie Green! How about the Pellies? Went on the road, second of a back-to-back, so they beat Brooklyn, then go on the road to play Minnesota, and not just Minnesota, that would be West leading Minnesota in their building on the second of a back-to-back and absolutely dusted them. In the third quarter, Pels pulled away. Well, I mean, they outscored by 10 in the second quarter, pulled away in the third, and coasted home for a 117-106 victory. Wait, Muse, we're talking about the Pels.
Yeah.
It's not Christmas anymore.
It's not. The season's officially begun.
So no more Christmas music.
Nope.
What are we gonna do?
Well,
you got any ideas?
Yeah, let me know what you think about this.
Oh. Big 12 on Fox basketball theme. Let's go.
No.
That's what it is,
No,
Muse.
stop it.
That's what it is.
Stop it.
It's the Fox college basketball
It's Round
theme.
Ball Rock, NBA on NBC.
That is not what it is any longer, Muse.
It's what it always will be.
John Tesh, he gave those rights away. But you know what? I like it. Just like whenever we listen to the Army-Navy college football theme.
That's the CBS, the SEC on CBS.
Nope, that's not a thing anymore. No, it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
Nope, that's not a thing anymore. You know what that is? That's the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl theme is what that is. It's just like this right here. When you get ready to watch Texas Tech against Baylor on a Saturday morning.
I'm not going to do that.
On True TV or something like that. Crank it up, Muse! Crank it up! Oh, Kelly's last night in frigid Minnesota. But boy, were they scorching hot. Give me Graf!
Ingram, hounded by McDaniel, center circle. Left shoulder down, kick it to Herb, right corner three. He did it again!
Dang it!
Herb Jones from the corner.
Hey, Willie Green, how is your team so good from behind the arc?
We're trusting each other. Guys are keeping the game simple. We're driving to the paint. When the defense collapses, we're kicking it out, and we're getting easy shots.
Boy, Willie Green. Musey sounded really measured there in that post-game press conference, didn't he?
He did.
He wasn't that way on the floor. He got teed up. Let's hear it from Graf.
Zion got stripped on the way up on a drive. And let's see, it's going to stay. Nope. Willie Green just got teed up. He wants a foul called on Zion. Willie Green's about to be ejected. He's sick of it. Zion got grabbed across the forearm. Willie Green ran all the way into the front court. And he's just sick of it. And this goes back to what happened last night. Zion had a head of steam. Jaden McDaniels just slapped both of Zion's forearms. Enough is enough.
Who says you can't be a fan in the booth? Right, crank that up. Music's too low. People driving home, they got to hear it over their car engines. What did Willie Green have to say about that tee? Did he agree with Graf?
I just thought I saw him get fouled. That's the difference. I couldn't see it last night, but tonight I saw it, and it was clear, and it's just what it was.
You know what? Didn't matter.
We're going to get it on a button. This is the first day. We literally came up with the song in the break.
Give me Graf!
Reed, one dribble, now two, bounce feed to the slashing. Edwards and Nance blocked the shot at the rim. Edwards was going to throw it down, and Larry Nance said, no you don't, Ant.
Oh, man. Oh, wait. Give me more Graf!
Zion now with 21. His 20th 20-point game of the year. Edwards to the rim. Get out of there, says Zion Williamson. Blocked it with a left hand. Up the floor, McCollum. Leave it for Ingram. Drives to the paint. Pulls up from 10. Got it! Got it! Timeout, Chris Finch. 8-0 run.
Yeah, you're right. How about the Pels? How about the Pels?
Yeah, you're right.
How about the Pels pull it away late in that second half, Muse? What did Willie Green have to say about the Pels pull it away in the second and third quarters?
I thought our defense set the tone. We got stops. We rebounded the ball. We got off to the races. We tried to do a decent job of keeping them off the foul line, but it started with our ability to guard.
Oh, the Pelly's good. They've won 9 of 12. 4 in a row. 9 of 12 since getting embarrassed by the Lakers. Mm-hmm. They're riding a heater. So all you need to do is just keep the Pelicans out of Las Vegas with a night off.
Yeah.
You do that, and you're healthy. They might be pretty good. One more Graf. Give it to me. I need Graf.
I mean, Z's doing it all. He is drawing so much attention, and then he just stole the inbounds on cue. Right hand throwdown. Thank you, Zion. That's how you make the announcer look good.
Yeah, you're right. You know how you make the announcer look good?
How?
You just put Graf on the mic.
There you go.
That's all you got to do. Zion with 27 points, 11 to 15 from the floor, 6 assists. What a night for the Pels. They went up to Minnehaha and blew out the Minnesota Timberwolves. The number 1 Minnesota Timberwolves on their home floor. Second of a back-to-back. They're fun, y'all. And, by the way, they were also rocking the red Crescent City jerseys. I like those.
So good.
Okay, thank you for the other music. Thank you for the Pac-12 on the Pac-12 on the CW theme music. Have you seen so they posted the Pels posted the graphic of Zion, player of the game. Man, I hate to point it out, but
what?
He's got Dunlop disease, man.
Oh, come on.
His belly done lopped over his belly.
Come on.
No, look at this, man.
He went for 27.
Look at that, man. Come on.
He's hunched over, kind of dribbling.
Muse. Take it from a guy who's been fat his whole life. All right.
Why you got to do Z like that?
Why can't he put the fork down?
Why you got to do that? We had such a great positive Pelican segment. They're good. If the playoffs started today, they'd be in, no play in. Why you got to zoom in on the man's belly?
He fat.
He is kind of fat.
He's fat. And I just, you know what it is, Muse? It's a defense mechanism. That's what it is. It's a defense mechanism. Because last year, we all got our hopes up.
Yeah.
We watched him win the play-in. We watched him have a really strong showing in the postseason, and something we could all look to and say they can build on that. Here comes Jose. Here comes Herb, legit Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Trigger Trey from 3. Man, and that was without Zion.
Yeah.
Get him healthy. And then last year happened, and it was so disappointing. I can't open myself up to that hurt again. It's just a defense mechanism. But he fat. Sorry, he fat. Like Day said, fat girls need loving too, Craig. Next Friday. If you haven't seen it, watch it. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. Tigers and the Pros next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. Am I going to get hate emails for that? It was from a movie. Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Dedham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. You can find the Clegg's Nursery location nearest you. Always a great opportunity to get by. Look, if it's Saturday morning and you want to get out because you're going to spend the day in your garden and your lawn, awesome. Get on by Clegg's. If you just need something to do in the evening when you knock off of work, something that's get you outside, get you a little bit of exercise, gives you a chance to reset your mind, get in your garden. Talk about all the time, just plant something. There are always like fall and winter plants. This is a great time to plant trees. They got citrus trees available. If you didn't get what you want for Christmas, go get it at Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. And if you're not sure what to get or you're buying for someone else, get them a gift card over at Clegg's Nursery. They got wind chimes and bird feeders and all kind of great stuff. It's at Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
Hey, look what I found!
The motivation I needed to live healthier. My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed. Time for myself. We found our why.
Have you found yours?
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Jeff Hawk, can you go over Derek Carr's contract again? I didn't quite get it. Oh, man. I'm not going to do that. Just suffice to say that, what?
That was well done. I just kind of want to give the guy a hat tip. That was well done. That was good. That was good.
Derek Carr said he'd be open to restructuring his contract, as if he's some type of saint for wanting to do so. Hey, no pun intended, but I do love a pun, and that wasn't that. No pun intended there. Remember, a contract restructure is not taking a pay cut. That's just restructuring how you receive the cash you're already set to receive. And it actually puts the organization in a worse situation financially long term. Went off on that in hour number one. If you missed that, AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. Let's see. I'm looking at some of the questions on the text line, so you can feel free to get them in. 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways you can get involved in the show. We will always welcome you to do that. Muslav Tigers and the Pros, just a quick second. I don't know if this is a giant concern for people, but Tom Brady will he was doing his podcast, the Let's Go podcast. Remember, Brady agreed to a contract with Fox. He could start it whenever he wanted. And he was doing his podcast and kind of gave an update on it. Hit it, Muse.
I got a big broadcasting job that's going to start in September. I'm already working hard on trying to, make sure I'm ready for that opportunity, ready for that. And I'm prepared mentally and emotionally for that challenge, because it is a challenge. It's something that's new. It's outside of my comfort zone. And, I'm excited to get out there and try something and see how I do. But it's got to be about what my preparation is and what my work ethic is. And hopefully a lot of the things that I've done in my career have prepared me for that. And there's an exciting part about that for me, which when I get out of bed in the morning, man, I'm ready to go. And I want to create a to-do list. And okay, these are the things I'm going to do today. And this is how I'm ultimately want to actualize my potential in this area of my life.
It'll be interesting to watch Tom Brady go into the broadcasting booth. So if you're unfamiliar, he agreed to a contract with Fox to be their number one analyst. That right now is Greg Olsen. So when Buck and Aikman left for ESPN, Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olsen became Fox's number one team. Tom Brady will slide into that number one chair, bumping Greg Olsen down whenever he wanted to execute that contract, which it sounds like will start this coming football season in September. Calling games is not an easy thing to do. There is a lot of skill associated with it. It's not just knowing the game, but being able to effectively communicate it. I will be fascinated to see. And one of the things that early in his career, certainly, that Tony Romo got a lot of acclaim for was kind of predicting what play was coming. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that he was still so close to the game. He had prepped for these teams and these coaches and these offenses up into the season prior. The further removed you get from playing and the less familiar you are on a day-to-day basis with players and game plan and preparation, the harder that is. So now that Tom Brady has been out of ball for a season, I don't know that it'll make a dramatic difference when he starts calling games, but it will be interesting to see. Just because you were a great player doesn't mean you're going to be a great broadcaster. And, but the greatest ever will have an opportunity to do it, sounds like, starting in September. So look forward to that. All right, it's After Further Review brought to you by Relief Windows. Muse will get the Tigers and the Pros in just a second. Remember, Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. They do it all. They do it better than everyone. Whenever you're talking about something that is a commodity like window, anybody can sell you a window. It's wood and glass, or it's a composite material and glass. Anybody can sell you a window. So what's the differentiator? With Relief Windows, it's their experience, their quality, and their service. Yes, they're a premium product as well, like their wood windows. They sell wood windows that come with a lifetime warranty. That almost sounds like a punchline. Think of it. Normally people, what do you do every 7 to 10 years you're replacing wood windows? Your HOA requires wood windows. Do it once, be done forever. Relief Windows. Windows, door, siding. But also, it's experience, quality, and service. The experience they have in the industry, the quality of the work, and the quality of their products. They measure twice to install once, but the service is what sets them apart, because at Relief Windows, they will never take a dollar from you. They will never take a down payment. They will never take a dollar until they're done and you're thrilled. That's Relief Windows. Why would you call anyone else? Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Okay, Muso, Tigers and the Pros.
Tigers and the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, earlier in the week, we gave you the report that La'el Collins was set to sign with the Cowboys practice squad. We now have official word from the Dallas Cowboys themselves that La'el Collins is officially back.
Hey.
Of course, spent the first 6 seasons with Dallas after being an undrafted free agent for the Cowboys, coming off a torn ACL with his time with the Bengals.
You got a torn ACL.
No, I don't. I do have Pro Bowl rosters for you, though, Matt.
Okay, I'd love to hear them.
Yeah, so we'll start with the AFC, because you have 2 former Tigers making it to the AFC. Jamar Chase is one of them. Congratulations. What? What? That's a new one. Yeah, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Golly.
Well, he was here in 20, COVID. He said he was coming back, and then he opted out.
That happens. It happens. He's on the precipice of 1,200 yards this year, 3 yards short, 7 touchdowns. That'll make you a Pro Bowler right there. Patrick Queen is a Pro Bowler in the AFC. One quick check. I think he actually might be. No, he's not the starter. His teammate, Roquan Smith's the starter. Second on the team in tackles is Patrick Queen this year with 125 for the Ravens. And Danielle Hunter on the NFC side enjoyed quite the year, man. 5th in the NFL in sacks with 15.5. He is a Pro Bowl starter, the only Pro Bowl starter for the LSU Tigers this go-round. NBA action to get to you for last night. How about this for Cam? Yeah, I don't know.
What?
How about Cam Thomas? 4 points.
A lot of prepositions there.
Yeah, it was. 4 points, all at the free throw line. 2 nights in a row, back-to-back nights, Cam Thomas shut out from the floor. 0 for 7 last night, 0 for 11.
What's going on?
Of course, against the Pellies. I don't know, man. That's weird. Normally, it's like that guy, he's like throwing it in the ocean every time. He just can't miss. Trendon Watford had a nice night for the Nets last night, 11 and 7, shot 50% from the floor. Maybe he can help Cam out a little bit there. Potentially. I don't know. And Naz Reid.
Well, I normally do it when you're done.
Okay. All right. Naz Reid, 8 and 6 last night against the Pellies in 25 minutes. So a solid night for Naz all around. Also blocked a couple of shots and had 2 dimes.
Should have stayed.
It's Tigers and the Pros.
Naz should have stayed. And still, when you actually think about it, it's still one of the stupidest things.
Yes.
From the first time you saw Naz Reid on the floor, it was like, who is that alien? That actually looked like the with the long hair.
Yeah, kind of like Predator, yeah.
God just didn't make many people that are 6'10" with that type of athleticism that have soft hands. That's Naz Reid. That's why he was going to be he was going to be a no-doubter for NBA teams, NBA teams. And for those that don't know the joke, there were a lot of people that said Naz Reid should have stayed, and obviously it was a stupid thing, and I went off on it then. And he's had a great start to his NBA career, so congrats to him. And he went undrafted, too, which was the thing.
Yeah, and still got $800K.
Yeah, he went undrafted, signed a contract, made the team, and he's now gotten broke off, and he's really good. He plays every night, and good for him. Happy for Naz Reid. Okay, it's after further review. We are glad to have you aboard with us here. Mike Triplett in 20 minutes from right now. When we come back, yesterday was the Under Armour All-American game, and The Athletic did an anonymous survey. They interviewed players at the Under Armour All-America game anonymously about NIL. I think these responses are going to be fascinating for you because I think this is illustrating an NIL culture which is actually counterintuitive to what you may think. And there's a bigger picture here, and I'll explain it. We'll get to that coming up here in a bit. I know a lot of people are also asking about news on the coaching stuff. Yesterday was furious with news and information. It is very much slowed down today as far as the rumors, the call. I think they're settling in right now, deciding what decisions are going to be made as news was flying yesterday. So when there is something to pass along with respect to LSU's coaching staff changes, we'll certainly pass it along to you. All right, hour number 3 is coming up right after SportsCenter. Stick around.
AFR.
Man, I love telling you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement. You can catch them online at Michelli.com, Michelli.com. I would always also recommend that you follow Michelli on LinkedIn. They do a great job updating their LinkedIn with, when they have job openings, whenever there are different products and services that they offer. Would highly recommend, if you weigh or measure something, follow Michelli Weighing and Measurement on LinkedIn. They do a great job keeping up with their LinkedIn page. So you can follow a lot of their products and services, things they offer. At Michelli, tell you all the time, they are our nation's largest distributor of scales. Hard to believe, but right there in Harahan, their corporate office, the nation's largest distributor of scales. And everyone knows Michelli because of their scales. But what you may not know are the dozens of other services that they provide. So for a full menu of their services, get to Michelli.com. ISO 17025 accreditation available. Request a quote online at Michelli.com, Michelli.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokee, $10,000 off new Jeep Grand Cherokee, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports Warriors forward Draymond Green is expected to come back to the team facility in the coming days, hoping to get back on the floor. Green's been on indefinite suspension for 3 weeks after taking a swing at Suns center Yusuf Nurkic. Browns quarterback Joe Flacco will sit out Sunday's game against the Bengals, but ESPN's Sal Paolantonio says if Flacco takes his team to the Super Bowl, he's a Hall of Famer.
If Joe Flacco wins 2 Super Bowls, he was the MVP of 1. Look at the number of road playoff victories for Joe Flacco. I do believe Tom Brady is the only one who has more.
Sal Palon on Sportsmanlike. Flacco has 8 road wins. Brady has 11. Wednesday's fire at the home of Dolphins wideout Tyreek Hill was started by a child playing with a cigarette lighter. Some family members were home when the fire broke out, but there were no injuries. Alabama corners JaQuincy McKinstry and Terrion Arnold, along with linebacker Chris Braswell, will all enter the NFL Draft.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces? Come join their growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 3 off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Topley. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Mike Triplett in 15 minutes from right now. I want to talk about NIL. And please, 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 before you roll your eyes, change the channel, run for the hills, say you don't care, huff and puff, think I'm just going to be negative. I think you're going to find this enlightening. Because I think what I'm about to share with you is going to be counterintuitive to how most people feel, most fans feel about NIL. And I'm going to share with you some stuff that I probably haven't shared with you before. Wednesday was the Under Armour All-America game. And The Athletic did a really cool thing. They anonymously spoke to some of the players in the game about NIL. And they asked them this question. Did you sign with the school that offered you the best NIL deal? If not, how much did you leave on the table to sign with where you ultimately decided to go? And there's probably a dozen responses. Now, keep in mind, this is the Under Armour All-America game. These are the best players in the country, right? We can all agree on that. This isn't every player in the country, but this is the creme de la creme. This is a short list of the best players in the country. Did you sign with the school that offered you the biggest NIL deal? If not, how much you leave on the table from where you ultimately decided to go? One answer, quote, it wasn't a big difference for me in terms of total package. All the schools offered between $300,000 and $400,000 per year with the ability to earn more. Another kid. I left some money on the table, about $50,000. I signed with my dream school. Here's another. The dollar figures were similar, so NIL wasn't a priority for me. I'm worried about the big bucks later. My relationship with the coaches, watching them practice, seeing it was the biggest factor. Here's another. I signed with the team that gave me the best chance to make the NFL, not the most NIL money. Another. I didn't sign with the school who offered me the biggest NIL deal. But coming from where I came from, any money I receive from a college is life-changing money. Another prospect. I signed completely off the bond I built with coaches. I didn't start talking about NIL until recently. I'll be making about $80,000 to $100,000 a year. A couple other schools had similar offers. There's more. No, I didn't. I signed with my school, and they gave me like $90,000. I feel like it's not really about the money for me, and I like my school. I want to say my best offer was about $200,000. They came in the process late. My school was there since my freshman year, so it was easy. Another. I can go on and on. I didn't sign with the school who offered the biggest deal. In total, it was probably about $300,000 difference over 3 years. Why did I go to the school offering less money? Because in the long run, I could go somewhere, I could stay focused, not be distracted, and get on the field right away. These are Under Armour All-Americas, y'all. Another. There's 3 more. I left some money on the table. I didn't bring up NIL until my official visit. One team told me if I committed early and helped bring other guys, they give me $40,000 a month up until I signed, but I didn't sign with them. To be honest, I didn't. I don't really look at all that stuff right now. I chose the school. I wouldn't say showed the best love, but it was a school where I just really liked being around the people, felt like I could make an impact there. I'll get NIL later on. I think I'm looking to invest in myself now and get a bigger bag later on. And finally, I'm not sure. I really didn't ask about NIL money-wise. That wasn't really on my mind. I knew it was going to come, but I just wasn't really concerned about it. There was one. Of all the prospects that they talked to, there was one who took the best deal. Quote, I signed with a school who offered me the best NIL deal. Other schools threw a lot of big numbers out, but the school I signed with, I trusted I'd get the money because I saw other guys go get it. One of all those I just read. One signed with the best NIL opportunity. I say all of that to illustrate this, I believe, is the shift that we're starting to see with NIL as the market settles and we start to learn more and more. By and large, high school players are not focused on NIL. That's not to say there aren't any. Sure, there are. Sure, there are. There are going to be prospects that are focused on NIL, and that's to be expected. But by and large, and these are the best in the country, these are Under Armour All-Americans. They're not focused on NIL. So the illustration here is that as a school, as an athletic department, as a collective, you should be spending in 2 places primarily. Retention of your current roster and portal. We've made such a big deal out of Ole Miss, for example, and rightfully so. But what would you say if I told you LSU and Ole Miss, the money they have raised, is comparable? By the way, it is. The difference is almost negligible. The difference is how they spend it. Year 1, when Brian Kelly came in, he just modeled after Alabama, what Nick did. Nick gave everybody the same thing. Nick talked about this openly. Everybody on the roster got the same amount of money from the collective. Now, you could go and sign a bigger deal if you wanted, like Bryce Young went and signed a big national NIL deal. But from the collective, everybody got the same thing. So that's what LSU did in year 1. Everybody got the same thing. This year, they changed the model to prioritize key positions and things like that. So like Jaden Daniels and Will Campbell got more than a freshman wide receiver, for example. Makes sense. Ole Miss doesn't pay anything to their high school signees. All of their funds are going to the portal. which is why you've seen them have the year they're having in the portal. And they're celebrated for it. But look at what happened today. Quinshon Judkins went into the portal. Why? Because he sees all the guys that Ole Miss is signing coming into the program and getting their NIL bag, and he's been here for 2 years, or been there at Ole Miss for 2 years, played exceptionally well, wants to get paid, but Ole Miss doesn't have the structure to pay him what he wants or what he feels he's worth or what someone else will, because they're allocating their money to the portal, not retention or high school. They're 100% on the portal, on portal. So the dollar amount in total may not be dramatically different. As I understand it, the more I dig in, you've got about a dozen schools that are outpacing everybody. And you know which schools they are. You could look around and see. It's Texas, it's A&M, Florida State a year ago. You know Tennessee. You know the schools that are spending, that are outpacing everybody with their money. And it's 10, 12 schools. And then there's a group of about 30 that are all really what and what. And LSU's in that group. LSU's in that 30. They're not in that top 10, 12. They're in that group of 30-ish. That's all pretty comparable. And then you have the have-nots. The difference among those 30 or so in the middle is allocation of funds. It's how you're spending your money. It's why earlier this week, when I talked about Lance Hurd, and a lot of you pushed back on me, and you're like, oh, he just wants to play left tackle. Of course he wants to play left tackle. But that wasn't the thing pushing him. Lance Hurd wanted a bigger bag. That was his number one priority. He had a number, he wanted it, and the way LSU is allocating their funds in their collective, it couldn't support that number. So if you can get it somewhere else, go get it. And he did. It will be fascinating to see if this continues to adjust, because I told you this as well. LSU gave Lance Hurd, the collective gave Lance Hurd 6 figures coming out of Neville. Low 6 figures. The first number was a 1. It was low 6 figures, but it's still 6 figures. And what did you get? You got a backup for 1 year. You going to do that again? Or are you going to take that deal and give it to someone in the portal? What if you had that money a year ago that you could have given to Keon Coleman or Braden Fisk? How different does the season look? Right? I think that's the evolution that you're going to start to see. You're going to see less NIL money going to kids in high school because they're telling you it's not even the thing at the top of their priority list. And you're going to use that money more for retention of your current roster and bringing guys in via the portal. And I'm going to tell you, one of the most interesting things, there's a company you probably haven't heard of them. They're called Ascend. Excuse me. It's Ascend Media, A-S-C-E-N-D, Ascend. And this isn't a plug for them. I have no affiliation with them whatsoever. There's not a plug. I don't even know if they're good at what they do. But a lot of collectives are using this business, this company, as a way to drum up donor support. For example, LSU has Bayou Traditions, right? I'll pull up the website probably if you can. I don't know if you can, Paulie. I want to pull it up. And a lot of people, a lot of LSU fans don't even know this exists. Here it is. It's BayouTraditionsCollective.com. BayouTraditionsCollective.com. I'm going to share, I'll share this with you. I don't mind sharing this with you, but the way that LSU is set up primarily right now is there's about 25 people. There's about 25 donors. There's about 25 donors that are funding the entire collective. Is basically where LSU's at right now. Ole Miss has about 5,000. That's the difference. Because if one or a handful of LSU's top donors say, I'm done with that, then now your total pool of money comes way down. Ole Miss, Auburn have done a really good job of mobilizing their fan base, for lack of a better way of saying it. And I'm not talking about big money. I'm talking $10 to $20 a month. But when you get 5,000 people, I'm told Ascend has garnered 5,000 subscriptions from Ole Miss fans. So if you have 5,000 people giving $10 or $20 a month, well, Now, all of a sudden, you're talking about a dramatically different outcome with what you're able to raise and what you're able to spend. So that's the big difference. For what it's worth, I was told today, and I asked and was given what I believe to be a candid answer, the monthly contribution that LSU has through Bayou Traditions, there are 300 supporters. There are 300 fans donating $10 or $20 a month. 300. Auburn has 3,000. Ole Miss has 5,000. That's the biggest difference right now. LSU has about 20, 25 people funding their collective. They've not gotten the fan support the way places like Ole Miss and Auburn have. And LSU can scale dramatically if they get the fan support. And I want to be very clear about one other thing. I know I'm going longer, but I want to be very clear about one other thing. I am not sitting here encouraging you to give to LSU's collective. Please do not misunderstand me. If you want to, do it. But I will never sit here and tell you what you should do with your disposable income. That is your money. I buy whiskey and shoes. Lots of them, too. I got lots of whiskey and lots of shoes. That's how I spend my money. I haven't given LSU's collective a dime. So please do not misunderstand me. I'm not telling you or encouraging you to give your money. I'm just sharing with you information about a topic that everybody talks about that you may not know. And right now, that's the biggest difference. And that's the hurdle LSU needs to learn how to clear. When I say LSU, I mean the collective. The LSU collective, from Go Enterprises to now Bayou Traditions, has gone through several iterations. They brought in Brent Cunningham. He was here for maybe 6 weeks, and then he left. And there have been a lot of different iterations and evolutions, and Match Point is involved, and they do a great job of monitoring a lot of the deliverables. And it's still new. And so there's a lot of evolution. And this is a part where they got to improve. They've got to find a way to engage the fan base to say, hey, if you give $10, $20 a month, then you ain't gonna have you're not gonna have a collective problem. You're not gonna have an NIL problem anymore if you can do that. But how do you do that? That's a real challenge that they have not figured out yet. And if they do, then LSU could find itself in that top 10, 12 collectives. But they're not there today. They got a ways to go to do it. But it seems like they're figuring it out every day, getting closer to it. So, okay, I went really long. I was already supposed to be out of break and have Mike Triplett on. Let me break really quickly. We'll come back. Mike Triplett's next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Speaking of NIL, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon, of course, has been a great supporter of LSU. Not just LSU, really, of NIL efforts for student-athletes all over the state of Louisiana. Get Gordon and get it done. But not only does Gordon give back through NIL deals with student-athletes, and men, women, sports, not only LSU, but Southern and schools all over the state of Louisiana. But maybe even more importantly, since Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys opened their doors some 30 years ago, Gordon's been helping injured people in our state. So if you've been injured, you've been in an accident, it's not your fault, you need representation, get Gordon and get it done. You can always call him, 888-8888, 888-8888. One more time, that's 888-8888. Or go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Offices all over the state of Louisiana helping injured people in our state with more than $2.6 billion recovered. It's Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Get Gordon and get it done.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Mike! Yeah?
Saints coverage with some Mad Libs mixed in.
Why don't you just go by Mike?
It's time to talk black and gold with Mike Triplett of New Orleans Football, presented by Benny's Car Wash, family owned and operated since 1951.
All right, week 18. Mike's been doing this with us since August. It's been a lot of Thursdays. Mike, it might be our last one, man. How are you?
Might be the last one, but stranger things have happened, right?
That is true. I'll probably bother you next week anyway to do a postmortem, even if they don't make the playoffs.
Sure.
All right, so they've won 3 out of 4, man. Are they actually getting better, or is it just they've played a lot of crappy teams?
It's probably more the latter, based on how bad that Rams game lost. I mean, 3 out of 4 would sound a lot better if they didn't play their worst game of the season in the fourth, against probably the best team they played all season. I mean, it really felt like getting exposed and outclassed in that game. So that makes you temper your enthusiasm. I mean, all along though, I mean, like even my highest pre-season expectations for this team were predicting them to go 10-7 to win the NFC South. So I think if they could beat Tampa in the fashion they did, and back that up by beating Atlanta in fairly convincing fashion, winning both of those rematches, then they'd be close to realizing their potential, which was, still not a special potential, but they're supposed to be the best team in this division. So that's still in play. But predicting consistency, predicting that, because they won last week, they're going to look good again the next week, we haven't seen that from this team in years.
Look, I mean, to your point, they had the worst game of the season against the Rams, came back, and I would say played their best game of the season against the Bucs. But that's the definition of an inconsistent team. Was that their best game against Tampa?
Yeah, I mean, and the previous best, I think, was the Giants right before they went out to Los Angeles. So I think they've played their 2 best games over the last 3 weeks. I think you can genuinely say their offense has made, small but significant improvements in the second half of the year. I mean, they looked like a disaster early on, especially the offensive line. I think Derek Carr's played his best football, third downs, red zone, like a lot of things we talked about have gotten better. I think if the second half of this season team was the first half of the season, I don't think there would have been the, the hatred and revolt reaction at least. Not great, but, respectable.
You brought up the offensive line, and I shared this earlier in the week, and this surprised me because I think we'd all agree the offensive line has not been great this year. But They're actually second in the NFL in fewest sacks allowed. Only the Niners, with 31, have allowed fewer sacks than the Saints, 32. Are they better than we're giving them credit for?
I mean, to be honest, that's kind of a surprising statistic when you consider how many they piled up early in the year. Yeah, I mean, I still don't like their run blocking. I hate it when they try to run the ball on 1st and 10 with the running back and they don't get anywhere and it puts them behind. I think that's been kind of a continued weakness all year long. But it's definitely the most their pass protection is definitely the most improved unit on this team, I'd say, in the second half of the season. So if the end results, say that, I just think we'd look a lot differently at them if they had started out playing this way instead of, taking so long to get.
Mike Triplett is with us. He's on Twitter at Mike Triplett. NewOrleans.football. Chats every week are brought to you by Benny's Car Wash. Mike, I'm split a little between wanting to talk about this game Sunday and the future, because I think the future is what everybody's probably more interested in right now. But the last time these two teams played, that was that sort of infamous game where the Saints put up 400 yards but were 0-5 in the red zone, and Ritter threw 2 interceptions, and it was absurd that they didn't win this game. Saints should win Sunday in the Dome, right? I mean, are you?
Well, I don't know about that.
Okay.
I think that I'd call it a 50-50 coin flip toss-up, honestly, because I do think the Saints will do a better job of scoring points. I think that was a little fluky how bad they were in the red zone. I think their offense has, gotten a little better. I trust them to be able to score points, but I have no evidence that they're going to be any better at stopping Atlanta's run game. And Atlanta has one of the better run games in the league, and they also have one of the most stubborn run games in the league. So they're going to continue to run from first quarter through fourth quarter, and we've seen no evidence that the Saints have an answer for it. I think that was probably one of the lowest points of the entire season, when their season was on the line when they played each other just 6 weeks ago. They were coming off a bye. They had to finish strong. They knew Atlanta was going to run against them, and they couldn't stop it. So I'll believe it when I see it if they can stop it.
Yeah. It's just, we've talked about it all year. It's the nature of an inconsistent team. There's no reason to believe any given week that you can expect to see what you might see from that team, which, of course, is a reflection of the coaching staff. Mike, I know this has been a big question all year long with Dennis Allen, if he's going to be back. It certainly seems like they're leaning toward.
I think you can feel pretty good about it. I mean, I think it would have taken losing the last 3 to change that, and having their best win of the season, I think, really cemented it.
So why? Why is this organization convinced that Dennis Allen can get them where they want to go?
Well, I wouldn't say convinced, but I mean, it's harder to fire somebody than I think most people appreciate in the media, in the fan base. Nick made the point where he's like, it's easy to fire someone on Twitter. It's hard to do it in real life. I mean, you get fired from a job, you really failed. I mean, this team could go 9-8. I agree it's not good enough, and I agree the expectation should be higher, the standard should be higher. But fired is like getting an F. It's not an F season, and they don't put all the blame on Dennis Allen. So it's really hard for them to be like, you failed so badly that you're never going to coach again in this league, and we're firing you after 2 years. It doesn't happen around the league often. And on top of that, the Saints firmly believe that the teams that are firing their coach every 1 or 2 years are the teams that, aren't having success. They're not looking at Carolina and saying, see, there's a team that's got it figured out. So I think he had to fail pretty spectacularly to lose his job in 2 years. That doesn't mean that I'm saying he's done a great job and people don't recognize it. Not at all. But, they're just not laying this all at the feet of him, because they also recognize the draft failures and the injury failures that have led to it. So they're not pinning it all on him. But, I do know that unfortunately that's going to be hard to sell next year, because we're not going to look at this team next year and be like, well, this team's going to be way better. They're going to be older and they're going to have the same coach and the same quarter.
Who does the organization lay the draft failures at the feet of then?
Well, I think it's a total picture. First of all, in the big picture, they're a team that lost Sean Payton and Drew Brees. And then they've dropped off after losing Sean Payton and Drew Brees. that was expected. But I mean, I think the replenishing the talent pool has been a big problem. Obviously, they have the salary cap constraints, so they can't just go out and buy new players in free agency. I don't think they've had a really productive draft since 2017. A couple guys here and there, Paul Smith-Debo, Pete Werner, Chris Olave, but the first round picks that haven't panned out. I mean, there's holes on the roster, and the offense is obviously early in the season was a bigger disappointment than the defense. The defense started having some warts later in the year, so I just don't think they see it as Dennis Allen is the fall guy. Unfortunately, I don't think they also, I don't think they can look at it and be like, this guy's got all the answers and he's going to get us back to the promised land next year. I don't know how you could have that opinion.
Is Pete Carmichael the fall guy? Probably all questions I should ask you next week.
I think there's a great chance. I mean, now that is an improved unit, as we talked about. I mean, you just mentioned the sack totals. They got better at that. They got better in the red zone. They got better on third down. Derek Carr's gotten better. They started scoring more points. So he's shown improvement. But, I mean, that's where you have to sell the hope. And look, if there was a way for Pete Carmichael to be part of it, maybe they show him the respect to have a job for him. But I think this was the year where it was like, all right, you need to show that it can look radically different. And it's an offense that needs to look radically different, I think. I'd be very surprised if we don't see major changes on that side of the coaching staff.
Does fan sentiment matter to the organization, Mike? I mean, I think you understand what I'm saying, but just to clarify, I think we all like to think our voice matters and we're heard collectively, but will the organization be moved? Mrs. Benson, Mickey Loomis, Dennis Lausch, who's ever making these decisions, will they be moved by fan sentiment?
I mean, I think that's impossible to ignore. I mean, when you saw the empty seats, the Lions fans in the Dome, the empty seats the next week against Carolina, I think that's legitimate. I mean, you have to worry about selling tickets. I know a lot of people who, just through apathy, not even anger, are just like, yeah, I'm just not into this team anymore. I'm getting rid of my season ticket. That has to matter at some point. But fan emotion, they try to take fan level emotion out of their decisions because fans were ready to fire Dennis Allen 4 weeks into last season. They still could win this division and go to the playoffs, but certainly any one more win along the way, they were going to win this division and go to the playoffs. Yep. So they don't want to be the reactionary, we've lost 3 in a row, fire everybody. That's not how they're ever going to operate. And they're not going to let emotional fans who feel that way sway them. But, yeah, if this product continues to, make the fan apathy grow and grow, of course that makes a difference.
Okay. What scenario is more likely on Sunday? The Saints winning and Tampa losing, or the Saints winning, Green Bay, Seattle losing and getting a wild card?
I would say probably the first one, just because all of those games to me are 60-40, 55-45, 50-50, whatever you want to call them. But I'll still take the path where you only need 2 things to happen as opposed to the path where you need 3 things to happen.
Yeah.
But obviously, out of all those games, I mean, I definitely think Chicago has a decent chance of beating Green Bay, and Arizona has a decent chance of beating Seattle, probably more so than I feel Carolina has a chance of beating Tampa Bay. But that Tampa Bay team we just saw 4 days ago didn't look like a world beater.
Yeah, that line's 4.5. The Tampa Carolina line for his inept.
Well, I'll tell you the one. We're talking gambling here, the gambling section. I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. Somebody told me that the odds of Atlanta winning the division are 6.5 to 1. That seems crazy to me. Like, I think Atlanta could definitely win this game. Like, I'm surprised it's that high. Like, those 2 results could absolutely happen. I mean, this is the NFC South we're talking about.
It's a division that nobody seems to want to win. And Mike, let me say it like, I know we talked about it back in week 3, but you led 17-0 in the fourth quarter against Green Bay and lost that game.
That's the one that they're always going to. I mean, I knew it that day. I was like, no matter what happens this season, it will make a difference. It'll make a difference in seeding or whether they get in or not. And sure enough, that's the one you'd love to replay, huh?
Week 18, Saints and the Dirty Birds from the Dome. Mike Triplett will have it covered over at neworleans.football. Make sure you get to neworleans.football on our chats all season long. brought to you by Benny's Car Wash. Make sure you join Benny's Unlimited Club. I did 2 years ago when Mike and I started doing this, and it's awesome. You just drive right on through. You have the sticker on your car. The arm goes up. You drive through and get your car washed. Benny's Unlimited. Join the wash club. Benny'sCarWash.com. Benny'sCarWash.com. All right, man. We appreciate it. Either way, we'll talk next week. Either celebrating a playoff appearance or commiserating and doing the postmortem.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks
right.
a lot, Matt.
Thanks, man. That is Mike Triplett. Always appreciate Mike's time and insight. Again, get him on Twitter at Mike Triplett, NewOrleans.football. All right, y'all, it's after further review. Hey, I want to remind you about Traction, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. Of course, you can get online at TractionSports.com. I told you yesterday, but I'm going to keep reminding you because, parents, you need to know this. The spring softball and baseball seasons over at Traction, they're going to be here before you know it. So go to TractionSports.com. When you get to the homepage, you'll see Louisiana or Mississippi. Obviously, choose Louisiana. And when you scroll down, you'll see the Spring Softball League and the Spring Baseball League. First time for a Spring Softball League. And they're registering now. Registration is open. And remember, the preseason practice begins later this month, January 29th. I know it may seem early, but it's almost here. We're just 3 weeks away or thereabouts. So register your son or daughter for spring baseball or spring softball at Traction right now at TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. All right, it's after further review. Muse, Paulie, and I will get to what to watch when we come back. The three things we're all watching for this NFL weekend here in Week 18, and there are plenty of them with divisional races, playoff spots, coaching jobs on the line, individual awards to be had, records, all that sort of stuff. So we'll get to our what to watch when we come back. Glad to have you. If you want to join us, you still can. Email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. What to watch is next.
AFR.
It is king cake time, y'all. Can you imagine? Like, you're driving home right now. No matter where you are in Louisiana, you're going to be near a Rouse's. So swing on into Rouse's. Go on over to the bakery section. When you walk in, go to the left. You'll see it. You can't miss it. And you will just see tables and tables and tables of delicious, gourmet, gorgeous king cakes. Have you seen the lineup they have? Bananas Foster king cake? What? A Bananas Foster king cake? Wedding cake king cake? Lemon and chocolate d'auberge? The gourmet king cakes with 9 delectable flavors. They got them at all Rouse's locations. 60 locations from Lake Charles to Orange Beach, Alabama, and points in between. You know where the Rouse's is nearest you. If you don't, download the app and you can find it. Rouse's.com. Rouse's. This feels like home. Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
All right, we are going to roll right through it here. We'll get to what to watch Otterlocks in about 10 minutes from right now. Jimmy was 3-0 last night on his college basketball picks. And the night before, obviously, hit his college basketball play as well. So it's 4 in a row. An undefeated week so far for the Otter here. We'll get his picks coming up here in less than 10 minutes. So get your DraftKings Sportsbook app out and let's roll. All right, Muse, let's hit it.
Here's what we're watching this football weekend.
All right, Muse, fire away.
All right, so you just asked Mike which scenario is more likely to come true for the Saints. How about for the Steelers? This is absurd. The Steelers have 5 different opportunities to get in the playoffs. If they win and Buffalo loses, they're in. If they win and Jacksonville loses or ties, they're in. If they win and Houston and Indianapolis tie, they're in. And then there's 2 options for them to get in without winning. The win should, well, I don't want to say should, it could be a little easier without Lamar Jackson playing, but with those 5 options, win, lose, or tie, and they can get in, feels like the Steelers are pretty safe.
Paulie.
It's still a 3-team race in the AFC South. You got the Jaguars, the Colts, and the Texans, all at 9-7. The Jaguars control their own destiny. If they win, they're in. But Trevor Lawrence missed last week, but he was at practice all this week. So will he play? The Texans and the Colts face each other Saturday night, so it'll be a 2-team race by Sunday. The Jaguars will face the Titans Sunday at noon.
Final game for Bill Belichick in New England. The Pats are at home. They're taking on the Jets, who are woeful. Zach Wilson's not with the team anymore. Bill Belichick and the Patriots will not be in the playoffs for the 3rd time in 4 years. This is the worst season ever for Bill Belichick as a head coach, and it might very well be his last. We're watching the greatest of all time, perhaps coach's final game in New England.
Man, who doesn't love a winner-take-all scenario, right? That's what you have in Miami this week. Dolphins and Bills. The winner of that game will win the AFC East. How about the run the Buffalo Bills have been on, man? I mean, 5 of 6, including at the Chiefs. They beat the Cowboys in that stretch as well. Dolphins will be a tough test. This is big for our predictions, too. I think Paulie and I both had the Bills, and you had the Dolphins in our preseason picks there.
So if the Saints don't win the division, they still can make a wild card, but we need to watch 2 teams in particular, and that's the Packers and the Seahawks. The Packers will face the Bears. The Seahawks will face the Cardinals. Not likely both of those teams lose, but there are 2 teams that the Saints will have an eye on Sunday.
Well, just piggybacking there, obviously the NFC South. We're keeping an eye on that for the Saints, but then also the other game will be Tampa Bay and the Carolina Panthers. We talked about it with Mike a little bit, but the Panthers are a 4.5-point dog, and it's not easy to cheer for Carolina or anybody in the NFC South. But one of the things the NFL has done exceptionally well is backloaded schedule with divisional games to make sure all these tiebreakers and divisional games and divisional championships are clinched in Week 18, and it's going to be that for the Saints and for the Saints, the Falcons, and the Bucs all on Sunday playing at noon.
All right, so the Carolina Panthers clinched the worst record in the NFL last week, which means the Chicago Bears get the number 1 pick. So that race is over. But what about the jockey to position in the top 5? You could have 3 quarterbacks go in the top 5. You got 3 teams at 4-12, but Washington, they're not likely to beat the Cowboys, so they'll probably lock up number 2. But what could happen at 3-4-5. Can the Patriots beat the Jets? That'd give them another win and potentially knock them out of the top 5. The Giants, the Cardinals facing the Seahawks. A lot of movement there with a heavy quarterback class. Something to keep an eye on.
The NFC East is still up for grabs. Both the Cowboys and the Eagles sit at 11-5. The Cowboys are now in the driver's seat for that division. Both teams are on the road in Week 18. The Eagles will head to New York to face the Giants, winnable game. Cowboys will be in Washington, winnable game. Both the Giants and the Commanders changed their quarterbacks last week, so if all holds true, the Cowboys will be the NFC East champs.
And just sort of some flowers for the NFL, but also a reason to complain. Every year in Week 18, they do this because the way they set the TV schedule is so that you have games that matter happening at the same time, so you don't impact at a later time slot what happened earlier. What I mean is there's a lot of Sundays where in the 3:25 slot you might have 2 or 3 games going on. This week, you've got 2 games Saturday, 6 noon kickoffs, 7 3:25 Central kickoffs, and of course you've got Sunday Night Football with Buffalo at Miami. The NFL does a great job in Week 18 making sure that there's games throughout the day so everybody's playing hard. Why can't you do this all throughout the year? Give me multiple games in all the windows. Don't give me 18 games at noon and then 1 at 3:25. I'm done seeing Dallas at 3:25 every week. All right, there you have it. That's what we're watching. We're brought to you by Shaw Bills, Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Bumper to bumper auto service. They're the best at Shaw Bills. If you need name brand tires, you'll get them at wholesale prices at Shaw Bills. Cheaper than all the membership clubs, cheaper than the big box stores. Yes, cheaper than the big box stores. I'm going to say that again. Yes, cheaper than the membership clubs and the big box stores. You want the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible, you go to Shaw Bills, ShawBillsTire.com. Ask about the Shaw Bills credit card. So often, when you use your Shaw Bills credit card, you're going to get even more discounts as well. And the first time you use your Shaw Bills credit card, it's $50 off. So like you get an oil change, use your Shaw Bills credit card, it's basically like a free oil change. They'll basically just swipe and charge $1 so they can charge the fee on the card. But anyway, it's Shaw Bills. Ask about the Shaw Bills credit card at ShawBillsTire.com, where you always get the Charlie's dozen, a dozen benefits to doing business with Shaw Bills. Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. Okay, y'all, been a great show. Thanks for being with us. We opened up today talking about Major Burns coming back to LSU. We did talk about Derek Carr, the benevolent monarch that he is, willing to restructure his contract, please. Harlem Berry, we had a ton of NIL conversation at the beginning of this hour. If you missed it, I think you're really going to enjoy that. I've shared a lot with I shared a lot earlier this hour about NIL that we haven't talked about before, but it's all there on demand, presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time at golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. Okay, final break. Otter Locks is next. Let's pay for your kids' college. It's AFR.
AFR.
Glow Resources, complete employer solutions. That's right. At Glow Resources, it's not like temp staff agencies that essentially are working for their employees to get them placed in jobs. At Glow, as a matter of fact, if you're an employee looking for work, you don't need to reach out to Glow. They'll find you. Glow Resources works for the employer, the business owner. If you're a business owner that has been going through the struggles of a job and hiring market since COVID, stop trying to do it yourself. Stop with the wasted money, the wasted resources, the lack of productivity. Get it right the first time. Let Glow Resources help. Based here in Baton Rouge, but offices in New Orleans, in Houston, in Miami, and all over. And they are international in every single industry. If you need skilled blue-collar label, they can help. They have a white-collar division as well. If you need C-level management, project managers, accounting personnel for tax season, it's Glow Resources. Go to glowresources.com.
Hey, look what I found!
The motivation I needed to live healthier.
My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed. Time for myself. We found our why.
Have you found yours?
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokee. $10,000 off new Jeep Grand Cherokee. And all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Down the stretch, we come final segment on a Thursday edition of AFR. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. The red hot man on fire, the Ott father himself, Jimmy Ott.
Otterlocks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable, the often incomprehensible, the Ott father himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, a 3-0 night last night. Give that man his bells. Give that man his bells. Give that man his bells. All right, man. Congrats. Smoking hot. What we got tonight?
Yeah, man. Even a little... a partial unit on that money line last night. So good stuff last night, Matthew. Light card tonight. Adam Silver put all of his off-season energy and interest on the in-season tournament. You know, understand this is the first Thursday in about 4 months we don't have football, and he's got 2 games tonight. But anyway, we're sticking with the college basketball. Little bounce-back spot maybe tonight. The Arizona Wildcats, number 1 in the country. They went to Stanford on Saturday, and Stanford shot like 75% from three-point range for the day. It was one of those days. They scored 100. You know, we won last night, and they only scored like 55. We're looking for them to bounce back at home. Colorado is good, but Colorado is a little bit three-point oriented. Maybe on the road they'll be a little bit off tonight. It's slight double digits, about 11.5, 12. You're going to have to look it up for
Looking
me.
at 12.5 right now, DraftKings.
12.5. Don't buy the half. Over 8 points, but we're going to take Arizona minus the 12.5. I know it's a big number, but a big bounce back spot there. You know, we've been picking our spots when we take Will Wade. I think after beating a Power 5 team in a row by double digits on last Friday night, like Michigan, you know, word's out now. I don't know how much value you're getting on taking McNeese State, but hey, let's not be embarrassed when that team is more talented than Michigan and went in there and beat them by double digits. The TCU transfer is on fire, man. Had over 30 again. So it's not embarrassing for Michigan. Bounce back spot for them at home against Minnesota. They have a better NET. 5 is the line here. That's the home court advantage anyway. So we're going to take Michigan to bounce back.
And we want to. It's 5.5 at DraftKings. We want to buy it to 5.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Michigan -5. Okay.
And then a preseason top 5 team was just off to a horrible start. They've gotten better. They did rout Baylor. That's their best game of the year a couple weeks ago by about 30. And I look for them to take advantage of Penn State tonight to bounce back.
1 minute remaining.
The Michigan State Peacock doubleheader special tonight for you.
Okay, you didn't say who the preseason top 10 team was. So Michigan State.
Michigan State.
Okay.
Michigan State laying a big number at home. Don't buy the half against Penn State. Penn State's coach is gone. They made a nice run last year. He's at Notre Dame now, but bounce back spot for all these teams tonight. Michigan State, and Arizona.
The DraftKings does have DraftKings does have 2 NBA boosts tonight. Otter, you have any feeling on either NBA game?
I hadn't even looked at them.
No worries. Okay, Arizona 12.5, Michigan 5, Michigan State 13.5. 3 favorites tonight. Otter, where are you? Oh, Friday, Rufino's.
Rufino's, yes indeed. We'll see you then.
Y'all get on by. All right, Otter, thank you so much. That is the one and only Jimmy Ott, your 3-pack, Arizona, Michigan, and Michigan State. Muse, Paulie, I appreciate it. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow for a Friday edition of AFR.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about the Williamson Eye Center. If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020. 924-2020 or WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com. Whenever I talk to Dr. Blake Williamson, one of the things he tells me all the time, and he's sincere about it, he believes that every person has a right to see. And that's why at the Williamson Eye Center, they work with you to make sure you get the refractive procedure you need. Sometimes people might be scared off by price and would always encourage you, always encourage you, just go for that consultation. LASIK, PRK, maybe the lens replacement, Evo ICL, which is the implantable contact lens. It's a new alternative to LASIK for people who are nearsighted. They'll work with you to make sure that you get done what you're looking to get done. Having great vision is a quality of life thing. I learned it. I'm thrilled you will be as well. It's the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020 or WilliamsonEye.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.